Once again, good evening from the St. Louis Arena, where Michigan Tech will meet the University of Minnesota for the NCAA championship. Joe Boyle, along with Roger Buxton, set to bring you all the play-by-play action. The University of Minnesota just coming out on the ice, and I'll tell you right now, and if you're watching the game in black and white, Michigan Tech will appear to have the dark uniforms on your screen, Minnesota the lighter uniforms. Michigan clad in the gold jerseys, the University of Minnesota hockey team in the white jerseys with gold trim, but the Tech uniforms will come out as the darker of the two. It's the battle for the NCAA championship, a rematch of last year's title game won by the University of Minnesota 4-2, and it's a battle between two teams that between them already have identically broken the record for separate collegiate wins in a hockey season, and you get a chance to get an idea of some of the enthusiasm displayed by the crowd here in the St. Louis Arena.
Also the high regard with which these teams hold each other.
Yeah, somehow the Badgers got in here, I don't know. The University of Minnesota, the old record for wins in a single season was held by Denver in the 60-61 season. They won 30, lost 1, and tied 1. So far this year, Minnesota has 31-9-1 on the year, and Michigan Tech is 31-10. So both already have recorded 31 wins, and one team will set a new collegiate record with 32 wins after this game is over tonight. So we're expecting a bang-up hockey game. The Gophers and the Huskies have met twice before. Tech lost at Minnesota 4-2, 6-3. The Gophers lost at Houghton 7-0 and 5-4. We're about ready for the starting lineup, so here's Roger Buxton.
Michigan Tech, coached by John McGinnis, and the Minnesota Gophers, coached by Herbie Brooks. We'll have the starting lineups for you in just a moment. Now, there are a lot of incentives in this game for both teams, and we'll get into them as the game progresses. Now, the starting lineup for Michigan Tech. In goal tonight will be number 1, junior from Altadena, California, Jim Warden. On defense for Michigan Tech, number 5, a senior from Downsview, Ontario, Bob Lorimer. Also on defense for Tech will be number 18, Doug Young, a freshman from Wallaceburg, Ontario. On the forward line for Michigan Tech, number 19, Steve Jensen, a sophomore from Minneapolis. Number 7, Mike Zook, a junior from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. And remaining on the forward line for Michigan Tech, number 10, George Lyle, a junior from North Vancouver, British Columbia. There are the rest of the Tech players, and as we said, Michigan Tech coached by John McGinnis. The Minnesota Gophers in goal tonight, number 30, Edina, Minnesota, Larry Thayer. He is a senior. On defense for Minnesota, number 3, sophomore from Hibbing, Minnesota, Joe Micheletti. The other defenseman, number 6, a senior from St. Paul, Minnesota, Les Auger. On the forward line for Minnesota, number 10, a junior from South St. Paul, Minnesota, Warren Miller. Number 7, senior from Hibbing, Minnesota, Mike Polich. And number 24 from Babbitt, Minnesota, a junior, Buzzy Schneider. And the Gophers, of course, coached by Herbie Brooks. The Gophers are the defending champions. Now we'll pause for our national anthem. Please rise, join in the singing of our national anthem. these two teams got to the final. Minnesota beat Harvard 6-4 in the semifinals here on Thursday night. And in the second semifinal Thursday, Michigan Tech just jumped on Boston University to the tune of 9-5. Boston U did not play well at all, and Tech played very, very well, and that accounted for that score. Harvard gave Minnesota all it wanted before the Gophers finally prevailed in the third period.
Just about ready to get underway. I'd like to welcome the folks in the Twin Cities area, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and over the state of Minnesota. Folks up in the Marquette, Michigan area, and wherever else in Michigan you may be watching this hockey game, Houghton, Michigan, or wherever you may be. And out east, the folks in the Boston, Massachusetts area. Welcome to the NCAA championship game. The University of Minnesota, Michigan Tech. Tech will be going right to left on your screen. Minnesota left to right during this first period of play. Tech in the darker uniforms. The helmets of the two teams will look identical. They're both gold. Could be a little confusing out there until they get used to it, but I'm sure they've both gone through it before. Face off at center ice. Zook against Polish. The draw comes back to Larimore at the Tech blue line. He dumps it right back into the Gopher end. Warren Miller over after it for Minnesota. Hemmed in along the boards, and we'll have our first face-off of the game, and we get a little pushing and shoving early, and we might look forward to some of that throughout the night.
I think we may see quite a lot of that. Face-off to Thayer's right. It'll be Zook against Polish.
Crowd very alive. Both crowds follow their teams with a great deal of enthusiasm. Buzz Schneider from long range drives the shot, and Jim Warden handles that easily and dumps it off to the side. Lyle clears it, but not out. Auger with a shot that hits traffic out in front. Warden gloves it and hangs on. So we'll have a face-off now on the Michigan Tech end. Both teams getting early shots on goal and early action in both ends of the rink. And I think that's what a coach likes to see early in the game, everybody getting contact right away and into the game. Again, Polish and Zook, two fine centers, two number 7s. They've met before, a year ago in the NCAA finals and 4 times during the past season. On the draw, nobody controlling it. Polish kicked it out in front of the net, but Larimore picked it up for Tech and steers it over on the far side. Tech out of their own zone. Les Auger breaks that up for Minnesota. Puck dropped right back into the Gopher end. Hustle for it, a centering pass. Auger has it, banks it off the boards, and gets it over to Polish for Minnesota. Polish, a rink-wide pass too far for Miller. It caroms off the boards. Warden has to come out and steer it away for Miller. Auger trying to hold it in. He goes down. Lyle in there for Tech, along with Zook. They battle. Puck lies loose. Here comes Tech out. Lyle up the left side. Moving in. He cranks up and fires, and Micheletti goes down to block that. On the rebound. Lyle after it, but he slipped and fell, and Thayer steered it off to the side. We're going to have a penalty coming up against Minnesota. So there's a break in the action. The score, Minnesota nothing, Michigan Tech nothing. So just 1 minute into the hockey game, Michigan Tech goes to the power play as Buzzy Schneider goes to the penalty box for interference for Minnesota. Tech on the power play. Steele gets it over on the far side. Delvise drives his shot. Anderson and Larimore go to the boards in the far corner, and the puck is cleared out of the Minnesota end, down into the Michigan Tech zone, and they'll have to go back and pick it up. Back in the Michigan Tech zone, Ostlund with it, back of his own net, waiting for his teammates to get set, and he starts out. With it, Stu Ostlund. Drives his shot off the boards, picked up by Reed Larson, almost lost it. Reed Larson, freshman defenseman for Minnesota, banks it off the boards on the near side, and Minnesota again clears it out of their zone. Minnesota with a tough game Thursday night. They were behind at one time to Harvard 4-1. Score at the end of the first period of the Tech and Boston University game was 2-2, and then pretty much Tech all the way. Minnesota had to come back in the third period for a win. Puck in the Michigan Tech end. We have 59 seconds left in the penalty to Schneider. Michigan Tech very deliberate on their power play. Thayer with the save off the long shot, and Reed Larson again drives the puck all the way down the ice. Warden has to steer it back of his own net. Race for it back there. Tech picks it up. With the puck for Michigan Tech is Paul Jensen, native of the Twin Cities of Minnesota. Puck out at center ice, picked up by Minnesota's. Pat Pippin tries to clear it behind him. He can't as he's checked into the board. Still has it, holding it into the Tech end, and now it's picked up by Zook. Zook with it. Comes across his own blue line. Pippen knocks the puck off his stick, but he regains possession. 25 seconds left in the penalty time, and we have an icing call, so they'll bring it back down into the Michigan Tech end for the face-off, with now 22 seconds left in the penalty time to Buzz Schneider.
Good job by Minnesota so far killing this penalty. Tech has not gotten much off it. Quite a bit of play in the Tech end at this point. Face-off just outside the Tech blue line. It'll be Zook.
Zook and Dahlheim to face it off. Outside the Tech blue line. On the draw, Zook gets it back to his defenseman. With it, Jim Murray. Murray in his own zone. Starts back out to center ice with the puck. Up the right side of the rink. Dumps it in. Back of the Gopher net. Race for it. Lyle with a shot. That goes back of the net. Over on the far side. Younger tries to center it. Picked off and dumped down the ice by Russ Anderson of Minnesota. Minnesota back at full strength now as Schneider hits the ice, so Michigan Tech early in the game unable to capitalize on a power play opportunity. Michigan Tech with the puck in their own zone. They get it over to Lyle. Lyle dumps it off at center ice to Zook. Lyle is dumped. Puck in the Tech zone. A shot. Loose puck out in front. Picked off by Morrow of Minnesota. Banks it off the boards. And the puck cleared out to center ice. Tech will have to go back and regroup. Minnesota picks up the puck. Loses it to Younger. Younger moving in the right side. Lost control of the puck. Steve Jensen after it. They bang away. Loose puck out in front. Zook after it. Goes into the corner. Has the puck knocked off his stick by Robin Larson of Minnesota. We're going to have a penalty coming up, an elbowing call against Lyle of Michigan Tech. 16:23 to go in the first period, and now Minnesota will have their first power play opportunity of the night. That'll be an elbowing call on George Lyle of Michigan Tech.
Time of the penalty is 3:37, so Minnesota with the first power play opportunity of the evening. Watch it again. Here you see Lyle go to the boards with Schneider. There you see the elbow come up right there.
Face-off will come outside of the Minnesota blue line. Decker in there for Tech. Draw one by Minnesota. Reed Larson with it. Larson avoids the check by Decker. Moves to center ice. Still has the puck. Feeds it over on the near side. Gets it to Robbie Harris. Brings it out to the blue line. Polich with it out there. Has it knocked off his stick. Regains possession of it. Dumps it into the corner. Tech out after it. Along the far boards, they bang it up against the boards, and we'll have a face-off there. 1:38 left in the penalty time to Lyle. Both teams now have had to play short, one man. Michigan Tech has not finished their stretch with it yet. Minnesota able to kill off the 2-minute penalty time. We'll see what Tech does here. On the draw, it comes back to Young, and he dumps the puck down the ice for Michigan Tech. Minnesota will have to go back and regroup. Scott Jesse back checking in the Minnesota zone. Almost got it away from Reed Larson. Larson gets around another check. Still has it. Puts it over on Robbie Harris's stick. He fires. Warden has a little bit of trouble with it. Steers it off to the side. Along the near boards, the puck comes loose. They battle for it. Try it up along the near boards, and we'll have another face-off. This one to the Michigan Tech end. 15:38 to go. First period of play. 1:15 left in the penalty to Lyle. Minnesota will change units here. They send out Tom Youngins, number 9. Pat Pippen, number 11. Tom Vanelli, number 15. Joe Micheletti, number 3. And Les Auger, number 6. Tech with Jesse, number 24. Young, number 18. And we'll pick up the rest of the unit for you momentarily. Here's Pippen. He drives his shot. That hits Young in the shins. Pippen goes back and picks up the loose puck. Moving in again. Dumps it back of the net. Return pass to Pippen. He shoots. Warden makes the save. Youngman's made a stab at it, but he couldn't get it down on the ice level, and Tech clears it out in front, and here comes Tech back. Michigan Tech with it. Decker had the puck knocked off his stick. He and Youngins went down. Puck dumped down into the Minnesota end. That's an offside pass, and we'll bring it back to the Michigan Tech blue line for the face-off with 49 seconds left in the penalty time to Lyle. Neither team able to capitalize, but Minnesota with a chance right there. As you take a look at Minnesota goalie Larry Thayer, he's a walk-on. Was not recruited. Brad Shelsted was the Minnesota goalie a year ago. They tried a couple of other goalies. Thayer walked on, wanted a chance, and they worked through 5 or 6 games, and finally Thayer got his chance, and he's been the regular goalie ever since. Puck driven down the ice by Abbey. Bruce Abbey for Michigan Tech. Thayer drops it back of the net. Les Auger, senior defenseman for Minnesota, drops it for Tom Vanelli. Vanelli back to Auger. Auger checked out of the play, but the puck comes back and it's picked up by Vanelli, or Micheletti. Micheletti dumps it down into the Michigan Tech end. Jesse clears it out to center ice, picked up there by Younger. Younger moving in, can't get his stick down on the puck, collides with Micheletti and loses possession of the puck. We may have another penalty. High sticking, and it probably will be against Minnesota.
It'll be Micheletti.
So there's a break in the action. The score, Minnesota nothing, Michigan Tech nothing.
Micheletti of Minnesota gets the penalty, 2 for high sticking at 5:16, and it's pretty obvious right there. Not too much gripe about that one.
Back to the live action. Delvis with a shot off the face-off. Both teams with 4 skaters for the next 20 seconds, and then Michigan Tech will move to the manpower advantage. Abbey back in his own end to pick up the puck. Bruce Abbey back of his own net. Wheels, Tech will just kill off time until they regain full strength, which is right now. So now Michigan Tech moves to their second power play opportunity of the night, and an offside pass. Kemper's a little short. They've had an awful lot of pushing and shoving so far in the hockey game. Neither one of these teams about to back down from the other. You can pretty well bet on that. They're familiar with each other. They both like to play a physical game.
Well, I think we get a good idea of the contrast in styles here tonight in our first game, Harvard and Boston University. Incidentally, Boston U beat Harvard 10-5 to take 3rd place in the first game this evening. Very much a skating game, very few penalties. We expect a good deal more contact in this event.
Puck picked up by Bruce Abbey of Michigan Tech in his own zone. He caught a stick high on the eye in Thursday night's game, and there was some doubt about whether or not he'd play. This is Mike Polic of Minnesota, backhand shot, and that's steered to the side by Warden. Now here comes Tech out. Zook up the center, the All-American center from Michigan Tech with a high shot that caroms up into the crowd, and we'll have a face-off now in the Minnesota zone.
Joe mentioned Bruce Abbey. He's number 22 for Michigan Tech. He's wearing a plastic shield around the front of his helmet tonight. In that game against Boston U, he got a high stick and suffered a scratched eyeball. There was some question as to whether or not he'd be able to play. There you see Abbey's back. We can see just a bit of the mask on the side, but he's all right in his play this evening.
Zook and Youngins on the draw. The puck comes back to the blue line. They feed it over on the near side, get it to Steele. Now here's Abbey with it. Centering pass, that's deflected off to the side, but the pass is deflected into the corner by Delvis, and the Gophers clear it down into the Tech zone. The Huskies back after it. Abbey leaks it away from one man. Steele has it and dumps it back for Abbey. Youngins checking in the Tech zone right now. Puck goes on the far side. Tech with it. Delvis with it. Zook up the right side. Goes Jensen, dumps the puck into the corner. Reed Larson after it. Jensen picks it off his stick. Out to the point. Delvis a drive. That hits traffic out in front. And here comes Minnesota back with 3 skaters abreast. They get it over to Reed Larson. Larson trying to go around. Lorimer, puck goes right through the crease as Reed Larson carried down, and Lorimer finally took him out of the play. Now here comes Tech back. They're on the power play. Zook to the Minnesota blue line. Cranks up and fires, and Thayer makes the stop, and he sits down on top of the puck. And Russ Anderson and Zook collide as they went right by the edge of the net. They have a few words down back of the net. Crowd loves it. Get a chance to look at it again.
Watch it again. There's a shot by Zook. Thayer had some problems with it. It dropped down between his legs. You'll see him just kind of fall over backwards and cover up. Now Zook and Anderson will come cruising in right there. Anderson, you can see Zook's one leg up in the air, and there he goes.
Whistle had already blown. Minnesota and Michigan Tech changing here. Young comes out Tech. Vanelli for Minnesota. Now Dahlheim comes out for Minnesota. So Minnesota makes 2 changes. 17 seconds left in the penalty time to Micheletti. Puck out to the point. Lorimer dumps it in. Comes out front. A shot, and that's steered off to the side by Thayer as Mayer got the shot off for Tech. In the corner, Morrow battles for the puck. It comes right through the crease as Bouchard shoved it through there, but the Tech players could not get their stick down on it. Minnesota's back at full strength, so they have successfully skated out their second manpower shortage problem of the night. Puck dumped to the Tech blue line. Knocked down there by Young. Young steers it off on the side. Tries to get it over to Roberts. Peter Roberts up the near side, and we have an offside call. 12:30 left to go in the first period of play. Score 0-0 in the battle for the NCAA championship. And I'll tell you, this crowd is about ready to explode. The first goal that comes will bring an awful lot of noise in this rink. There's a look at the Michigan Tech band. retired in all their satirical splendor. Puck dumped into the Minnesota end. Brad Morrow picks it up for Minnesota, being checked out front by Bouchard. He goes back of the net, still has the puck, puts it out on the stick of Lambert. Headmans it over to Vanelli. Puck knocked up into the crowd inside the Tech blue line by Roberts, so that'll bring a face-off in Tech territory. They'll change here, so there's a break in the action to score. Michigan Tech nothing, Minnesota nothing. On the face-off, the puck dumped into the Minnesota end offside, and they'll bring it back outside the Minnesota blue line for the face-off. No score in our hockey game, and so far, Roger, it's been about what we expected.
Well, there you see a shot of the Minnesota band. Not quite as conspicuous as the Tech band, but certainly as loud.
Face-off outside the Minnesota blue line. The puck comes back into Minnesota territory. Robin Larson with it. Steers it rink wide. Puck fed out through the blue line, picked up by Lambert, or Buzz Schneider, rather. He cranks up and fires. He's wide to the right. Puck steered off to the side by Warden. They trap it up along the boards, and we'll have a face-off in Tech territory. Tech with Dana Decker out there right now, along with Jim Murray, Scott Jesse, Jeff Wilcox, and one other skater we'll pick up in just a minute here. Can't see his number from here. The draw controlled by Michigan Tech. Jesse after it quickly, and he sends it down to the Gopher end. Robin Larson after it, and after him is Dana Decker. Robin Larson still has the puck. Gets around to check, carries on to center ice. Robin Larson carrying up the right side, still moving in on his backhand, trying to center it right through the crease. They bang it, the loose puck. Robbie Harris had a chance at it. He's knocked down behind the net by Murray, no call, and the puck comes loose in the hands of Jim Murray. Puck knocked right back into the corner by Holmgren of Minnesota, knocked away from him by Lambert into the far corner. Now Murray after it for Michigan Tech, held in by Harris, puts it over in the far corner, race for it over there. Wilcox banks it off the boards and hits one of the linemen. Robbie Harris with a shot picked off out in front by Murray. He banks it off the boards, and it's picked up by Decker. Decker up the left side for Tech, gets it out front, a shot, and it's hit fair, cleared away from in front by Robin Larson and picked off now by Robbie Harris. Stu Ostlund was the man that got the shot off for Michigan Tech, and now here comes Minnesota back to the Tech blue line. Morrow with it. Dumps it out in front of the net. Holmgren couldn't get there. Overskating the puck that time was Mike Polich of Minnesota as it lay loose for a moment out in front of the net. Puck fired behind Buzz Schneider of Minnesota, and he dumps it into the Michigan Tech end. Quickly, Tech back after it. Jensen picks it up back of his own net. Spins away from a check by Polich. Polich kicks it out. Warren Miller after it. Polich dekes away at it. Now Jensen back after it for Tech along the near boards. They dump it right out in front. A shot by Micheletti, and Warden puts his gloved hand in the air and hangs on to that one.
Good pressure by Minnesota. Played a lot of time in the Tech end here. Micheletti's shot didn't get too much on it. Looked like he got under, jumped up, and was fluttering when Warden made the glove stop. Watch it again. There you see Micheletti moving in. Didn't get very much on it, and it started to rise, and Warden made the glove save and elected to hang on. Face off to Warden's right in the Tech end.
On the draw, Polich and Zook bang away at it. The puck comes loose. Polich after it. Jensen takes him out of the play. Schneider is shot, and that's wide to the left on the far side. Miller over after it for Minnesota. Drops it behind him. Polich has it. Centering pass. Cleared away from in front by Jensen. Knocked out to center ice by Zook, and Auger picks it up for Minnesota. Gets it over to Schneider. He dumps it into the corner. Polich goes in behind the net. The puck comes all the way around. Auger drills a shot, and that hits Zook out front. A battle in the far corner. Polich comes away with the puck, tried to get it out front, comes to Auger with it. He takes a shot. He's wide to the right with it. Minnesota putting on good pressure right now. Schneider trying to dig it out back of the net. He and Polich both there. Polich in the near corner tried to center it, knocked off his stick by Abbey. The puck comes around the boards. Auger trying to hold it in, dumps it into Polich. His shot hit traffic. Another shot as he tries to center it. Warden gloves it and hangs on as Miller, Schneider, and Jensen battled out in front. 9:35 left to go in the first period of play, and for the last minute and 22 seconds, Minnesota has kept the puck successfully in the Michigan Tech end.
Here I saw a shot of Jim Warden. He's been at this before, so it's nothing new to him.
He's a big guy, 6'3", 190 pounds, a junior. Canadian by birth. Resided quite a bit of the time in California, but strangely enough, went to a Twin City, Minneapolis-St. Paul area school. He was a goaltender at Blake in the Twin Cities. A shot by Reed Larson hits traffic, knocked down by Younger. Tried to feed Delvis as he broke up the ice, but that was cleared right back in by Minnesota. Lorimer, the puck comes out to center ice. Now Reed Larson picks it up for Minnesota. Dumps it over to Youngans, and Youngans backhands a pass to Vanelli. Vanelli dekes away from one man, but Lorimer takes him into the boards. A battle for the loose puck continues. It comes across the blue line. Minnesota will have to go back and regroup. Off the boards, Pippen can't catch up with it. Picked up by Anderson. Anderson tried to get it on the side to Youngans, and Vanelli picks it up for Minnesota. Tech forcing it deeper towards Minnesota territory now as they try to get it out on the side to Younger. Picked off by Youngans. Reed Larson fanned on a pass. Younger overskated the puck. They battle along the near boards and tie it up at the blue line. 8:46 left to go in the period. No score yet.
Been a good hockey game to this point. Some good chances and some good hitting, some good physical play. Both teams taking the body pretty effectively. I'm sure the kind of hockey that both these coaches, John McGinnis and Herb Brooks, like to see.
The draw controlled by Lambert, and he dumps it back into the corner. Robin Larson with it there, feeds it over on the far side. Puck picked up by Holmgren. Paul Holmgren tries to go around a couple of Tech defensemen, but it's picked off by Delvis, and the puck fed up the far side now, and picked up over there by Steele. Steele fakes the shot. Morrow in front of him. Now he scores! Bill Steele. Puck just eluded Larry there, and Michigan Tech takes a 1-0 lead.
Time is 11:36. From a seemingly impossible angle, you'll see Steele just flipped the shot on net. Just put a wrist shot right on. Thayer comes over to cover it, but can't handle it, and it dribbles through him. Went right between his legs.
Got the lower left-hand corner and went in, and Michigan Tech leads it 1-0. The Tech crowd loves it. Puck at center ice now for the faceoff. On the draw, the puck comes back into the Michigan Tech end. Quickly back after it is Murray. Clears it out to center ice all the way down the ice, and this will bring an icing call as soon as Minnesota catches up with it. There's a break in the action. The score, Michigan Tech 1, Minnesota 0.
Michigan Tech goal scored by number 17, Will Steele, assisted by number 18, Doug Young. Time of the ball, 11:36. From Young, 11:36.
Faceoff will come now in the Tech zone to the left of goalie Jim Warden.
The Michigan Tech goal, Bill Steele got the goal from Doug Young. Time was 11:36, and Tech leads 1-0.
Puck dumped into the near corner. Murray goes in there. Puck comes loose. Battle for it still. Picked up back of the Minnesota wing by Murray. He ties it up along the boards, and we'll have yet another faceoff. Well, these two teams met last year in a classic battle out in Boston. Minnesota winning the NCAA crown 4-2 there. We'll see what happens tonight. Tech has the lead for the first time in a hockey game. And here come the Huskies back again. Up the right side, Bouchard, and we have an offside call. So they'll bring it back outside the Minnesota blue line for the faceoff. 7:54 left to go, first period of play.
Minnesota makes a change. Polish, Miller, and Schneider on a forward line. Micheletti and Ogier come out on defense.
Roberts, Bouchard, Mayer up front.
There you see a shot of John McGinnis, the Michigan Tech coach. Talk about John in a couple moments.
Puck comes out to center ice. Mike Polish with it. He dumps it down into the Tech end. Murray and Miller race after it. Miller takes Murray into the boards. Puck picked up by Minnesota. They bring it out to Ogier at the point. He cranks up and fires. Oh, that hit traffic in front. Warden didn't see it, and it skittered off to the side. Puck goes into the far corner. Polish jams it in, along with a couple of the Tech players, and now Polish comes out swinging as he's jammed into the boards. The officials get in there. Polish after one of the Tech players. Now he's talking to Murray, and now we have another altercation going over in the far corner. Warren Miller and Mayer battling. Roberts has grabbed one of the Gopher players as they kind of square off. We'll see whether anything is handed out here. I believe we're going to have some penalty time. Polich is still talking. Now Les Auger of Minnesota has a hold of one of the Tech players, and I can't get that's Decker, or Roberts.
I think Miller and Mayer are going to go. I don't think anybody else will be involved. There you see Miller tried to jam it in the short side. Warden knocked it away. Now you see the action going into the corner. Polich got into it right here. You see the elbow come up. And the action between Miller and Murray started away from the play.
Well, he was trying to get into it with Bouchard, who jammed him into the boards after the whistle blew, and somehow he and Mayer ended up together. So the dancing partners were separated. 7:33 to go in the first period of play. Tech leads it 1-0. Polich is still out there. He hasn't gone. Now he's over talking to one of the officials. I don't know what this discussion centers around. Bruce Abbey is over getting into the conversation for Tech. Well, while they get this squared away, we'll tell you that there's 7:33 to go in the first period of play. Tech has scored the only goal of the game. Bill Steele, as Roger pointed out, with a shot from an almost impossible angle that it seemed that Minnesota goalie Larry Thayer had handled, but it seemed to elude him and get between his right arm and body, and then trickled into the lower left-hand corner of the net. And that was enough, and Tech led it 1-0, and that's the way the score still stands. Thus far, it's been a good hockey game. We've had some pushing and shoving, but not much of the chippy variety.
I imagine the penalties are going to be roughing anywhere. They're both at 12:28 for Miller of Minnesota and Murray of Tech.
They both get 2 minutes, so you're probably right, Roger. Probably roughing. Face off in the Tech zone, controlled by Zook. He's checked from behind, loses the puck. It's picked up by Joe Micheletti of Minnesota. Mike Polich is still out there. So it was not Polich that went. Warren Miller went. He and Mayer got mixed up over in the far corner. So the two original antagonists did not even leave the ice. Puck in the Minnesota end. Errant pass, almost picked off by Tech. Polich has it at center ice. Gets a pass back for Auger, picked up by Zook. Zook drops it behind Jensen. Loose puck picked up by Auger, poked into the Tech zone. Polich after it, but Jensen gets there for Tech first. Schneider picks it up for Minnesota, dumps it out front. Schneider has the puck for Minnesota. Drop pass for Polich. Polich has the puck, being checked from behind by Zook. And finally, puck driven into the Tech zone. Minnesota wanted to make a change. Now Abbey picks up the puck for the Huskies of Michigan Tech, trying to hit Jensen with a pass a little bit too far. And the puck comes to Tom Vanelli. His pass is deflected, and Pat Pippen cannot quite get to it. Pokes Jensen out of the way. Vanelli with a drop pass and an offside call as Reed Larson could not get to the puck in time. Minnesota was a little slow in changing their defenseman, and there was nobody out at the point at the time the pass was dropped. 6:27 left to go in the first period. 54 seconds left in the penalty time to Jim Mayer of Michigan Tech and to Warren Miller of Minnesota.
Face off just outside the Tech blue line. Delvis will take the draw against Vanelli.
Puck comes back to Reed Larson. Dumps the puck into the far corner. Warden out to stop it. Leaves it for Young. Young feeds the puck to Delvis. Delvis up the left side. Carrying on. Drives a long shot that Thayer had some trouble handling. Into the far corner they go. Steele, who has the only goal of the hockey game in there. The puck fed out to Minnesota. Pass comes over to Reed Larson. Larson has one of the best shots in collegiate hockey. He drove one there just wide to the right. Vanelli is poke checked out of the play, and the puck picked up by Steele. He gets it over to Young. Young carries to the Minnesota blue line. Carries in. Puts a shot through the crease that Thayer let go. Steele picks it up, dumps it into the corner as he's checked out of the play, and Reed Larson picks up the puck. One of the Gophers, Russ Anderson, has lost his stick. Puck comes out to Pat Pippen. Pippen for Minnesota starts back. Gets it out to Vanelli. He can't control the pass, and it's cleared away by Young. Puck dumped in. Both teams are at full strength now. Pass just a little errant as they tried to get it to Miller, who was breaking for the slot, but he couldn't get in there. Real wrestling match going on now between Steele and one of the Gophers. Right out in front, Paul Holmgren can't control it. It bangs away at it. Vanelli bangs away at it, and it's cleared off to the side by Young. Young steers it out to center ice. Anderson can't control it. Now he steers it over to Reed Larson. 5:07 left to go in the first period. Puck stolen out front by Michigan Tech. With it was Ostlund. He couldn't control it. Now moving in, a shot, and he's wide to the left with it as Scott Jesse fired it up there. Tech putting on the pressure now. Puck poked loose by Reed Larson for Minnesota. Larson up the right side, drives a shot that Warden steers into the corner. Minnesota making some changes. Puck tied up along the near boards. There's a break in the action. The score, Michigan Tech 1, Minnesota 0. A tripping penalty called on Michigan Tech's Dana Decker. So he'll go to the penalty box, and Minnesota will go to the power play. Get a chance to look at just exactly what happened off that faceoff.
Now watch it again. There you see Holmgren going into the corner along with Murray. The puck will come loose, and the tripping call will be coming up right here. There you see it right there as Lambert goes down.
Minnesota
Decker gets
with
super tripping.
Harris, Lambert, as you take a look at the Minnesota bench, and Coach Herb Brooks. Reed Larson out there, Mike Polich. Larson and Polich man the points.
The time on Decker's, the time on Decker's penalty is 15:27.
Pick up the other wing for Minnesota for you in a minute. Tech has Scott Jesse, Jim Murray, Stu Younger, and Bob Lorimer out there in their penalty killing unit. Puck cleared down the ice by Michigan Tech. Minnesota will have to go back and regroup. Younger giving chase. Reed Larson picks up the puck behind the net, right out in front of it. Almost lost it off the end of his stick. Now here comes Minnesota back. Puck steered into the corner by Rob Harris. Tried to steer it around the boards. Comes out to the point. Reed Larson drives, hits traffic out in front, and it's picked off by Murray. Two Minnesota players there, but they couldn't get their sticks down on to deflect it. Puck picked off by Minnesota. Polich has some trouble with it, back in his own end. 1:25 left in the penalty time. To Dana Decker for Michigan Tech, and Minnesota moving back to the attack. Holmgren dumps the puck in, steers it into the corner. Catches up with it. Steers it in behind the net for Rob Harris, knocked away from him. Battle for the puck. Minnesota picks it up. Lambert with it in the near corner, trying to get things set up. Dumps it off for Harris. Harris moving in. Still has it, drops it out to Reed Larson. He drives the shot, a backhand shot by Holmgren goes wide. Holmgren and Larimore go after it, and the puck's cleared out to center ice by Michigan Tech. And Scott Jesse drives it down into the Minnesota end. Reed Larson back to pick it up with 49 seconds left in the penalty time. To Decker. Larson moves to center ice. Feeds the puck up the left side. Lorimer after it. It's knocked away from him by Holmgren. They go to the far corner. They fall, and we'll have a face-off in the Tech zone. 3:10 left to go in the first period. 37 seconds left in the penalty time. To Decker, and Minnesota hasn't done much with this power play.
Steele comes on for Tech. And Micheletti and Auger come on for Minnesota. They'll play the points in the power play. Face-off will be to Warden's right. Now Young coming on also for Tech.
Bonelli and Delvis on the draw to the right of Tech goalie Jim Warden. At a whistle. Somebody in the circle too quick. Youngins for one for Minnesota, and Steele for Tech. One of the officials comes over and says, Again, the draw to the right of Warden. Controlled by Delvis. Check from behind by Vanelli. Puck comes loose. Tech has it, and they clear it down the ice. A race for it now as Delvis catches up with it. Auger back in front of him. Delvis around one man, and Thayer steers the puck back of the net. Auger clears it over on the far boards. Youngins with it. Has his pass stolen out in front. Puck knocked back of the net. Auger back to pick it up with just 16 seconds left to go in the penalty time to Decker. Michigan Tech doing a good job of killing off penalty time here. Comes to the blue line. Polich got it by one man, but it's an offside call, so the faceoff will come outside the Tech blue line with just 9 seconds left in Decker's penalty time. There's a look at that mask worn by Bruce Abbey. It's kind of a plastic affair that goes over his eyes.
Covers the whole front of his face.
Somebody was talking to me, Raj, or to us, I guess, about that mask. I can't remember where. Said he was going to go take a look at it. I can't remember. That type of a mask that covers the entire facial area for young kids. And they like to see younger kids to avoid stitches and eye damage wear that during their early hockey playing days. Puck comes into the Tech end. Phippen around behind the net. With it, Michigan Tech back at full strength. Puck comes out to the point. Micheletti partially fanned on a shot. Loose puck right out in front. They wrap away out of the shot. That's deflected as it hits traffic. Back of the net, Minnesota has it. Moving in is Vanelli. Tried to pass it out in front. It's poked away. Auger trying to hold it in. Knocked down. Vanelli has it. Still has the puck. Waiting for some help to arrive. Puts it right on Delvise's stick. Knocked away. Picked up by Michigan Tech. Lyle with a pass. Coming up the far side to steal. He shoots. Oh, Thayer comes out and makes the save. And the puck cleared away at the last minute by Micheletti. Vanelli picks it up for Minnesota. Tech putting on pressure now. Vanelli picks up the puck. Moves out to center ice. Puts it on the stick of Youngins, or Robbie Harris rather. Couldn't get it to him. Vanelli with it. Drops it behind him. Picked off by Pat Phippen. Phippen moves across the blue line. Steers it over on the side of Youngins. A backhand shot goes wide to the left. Tech over. Lyle trying to clear it out. They tie it up along the boards with 1:42 left to go in the first period of play. We'll have another face-off in the Tech zone.
I'd say the toughest stop of the game so far right there, Joe. Watch it again right here. You see Steele out ahead of everybody. Younghan's trying to catch up with him, but Steele maintains good control of the puck. Got a hit there right in the pads.
There's another look at that mask worn by Bruce Abbey. Face-off in the Tech zone. Comes right out in front. Miller with a shot. That hits Abbey in the legs. Goes between them. A centering pass. They wrap away at it. Warden clears it away from the side of the net, and they tie it up back of the net along the boards, and we'll have a face-off. Another close call right there as Warren Miller had an opportunity, but his shot hit traffic.
Well, it's been one of those periods, I think, where Minnesota's had the better chances, but Tech has got the goal.
Well, and Tech has played, I think, probably a little better the defense in their own end. They've had defensemen right out in front of the net for the most part, and they've kept the puck pretty well cleared away from in front. Brad Morrow from Minnesota pokes it up for Schneider, knocked away from him. He holds it in. Picked up by Michigan Tech. Miller checks Zook out of the play, but now here comes Jensen. On his backhand, he shoots it over the top of the net into the glass. And the puck's picked up by Minnesota's Warren Miller. He loses it. Behind the net, Lyle, a backhand shot. He fanned on it. Puck goes right through the crease and over to the far side. Another centering pass by Jensen. Picked up by Minnesota. Jensen steals it, moving in. Puts it right out in front. They score. Zook! Jensen fed Zook perfectly, and it's a 2-0 hockey game as the goal comes with 1:04 left to go in the first period of play.
Watch it again. Steve Jensen will put it right on Zook's stick.
A lot of hard work by Jensen.
Pretty goal here for Tech. You see they got him 2-on-1. He's got the defenseman down right now. There's the pass, and Zook just slams it home. Thayer tries to get over, but has no chance as he puts it over his leg.
A lot of hard work by number 19, Steve Jensen, to set up that goal. Did a lot of checking in the Minnesota end, and Tech now leads it 2-0. On the draw, the puck comes back to Russ Anderson for Minnesota. He drives it back into the Tech zone. Murray after it. Holmgren knocks it away from him. Lambert after it. Lambert jousts with Murray. The puck comes back of the net to Holmgren. Picks it out, steers it off to the side. It's picked off by Bouchard. Bouchard feeds it up ice and hits Roberts with his pass. He overskates it as Reed Larson took it away from him. Puck picked up. Moving in is Michigan Tech. They shoot there, makes the save. The puck cleared away from in front as Mayer had the big chance for the Huskies that time. Tech putting on good pressure now here in the last minute and a half of play. Puck picked off by Anderson of Minnesota. Dumps it over on the far side. A race for it now with 30 seconds left to go in the period. Cleared out to center ice. Picked off by Reed Larson. He dumps it into the Tech end. It's picked off there by Wilcox. He dumps it down into the Gopher end. Minnesota back after it. Reed Larson gets away from a check by Roberts. Steers it up along the boards. Gets it up to Lambert. Lambert puts it on Holmgren's stick. He can't control it. Puck wrapped right back down into the Minnesota end by Murray. And time running out in the first period. Just 6 seconds left to play in the period. Puck comes to Reed Larson. Larson steers it out at center ice, and that's it. So the first period comes to a close with Michigan Tech holding a 2-goal advantage. And Roger, why don't you recap the scoring?
Scoring in the period, Michigan Tech's Bill Steele from Doug Young at 11:36, then Tech's Mike Zook from Steve Jensen at 18:56. A lot of penalties in the period. Buzz Schneider of Minnesota for interference at 1 minute. George Lyle of Tech for elbowing at 3:37. Joe Micheletti of Minnesota for high sticking at 5:16. Then Warren Miller of Minnesota and Jim Mayer of Tech both went for roughing at 12:28. Finally, Dana Decker of Michigan Tech for tripping at 15:27. Shots on goal in the first period. Tech had 9 and Minnesota had 7.
Okay, that pretty well sums things up. 9-7 shots on goal. It was just about that kind of a period, a 2-shot difference and a 2-goal difference at the end of one period of play. That's the end of the first period. The score, Michigan Tech 2, Minnesota nothing. Face-off will come at center ice. Mike Zook against Mike Polich. 2 number 7s, both have the same first name. Joe Micheletti drives the puck down into the Michigan Tech end. Tech trying to clear it out, held in by Schneider of Minnesota. Delvis over to get it, has it knocked away, and Warren Miller takes a shot that goes wide to the right, and the puck goes back of the net. Lorimer steers it around the boards. Lyle goes up along the boards along with Warren Miller, and Polich is held from behind. Looks around. Face-off will come in the Tech end. 2-0. Michigan Tech leads it. Close first period. Tech with the edge in shots, 9-7. The Huskies holding that 2-0 lead right now. Championship game in the NCAA tournament here at the St. Louis Arena. Face-off to the left of Warden. Polich wins the draw for Minnesota, but lost the puck, and it's picked up by Michigan Tech. They feed it out to center ice. It comes to Jensen. Jensen puts it on Zook's stick. Puck picked up by Minnesota. Auger clears it out to center ice. Hops over the top of the stick of Warren Miller, and it's regained by Tech. Lyle dumps it to the blue line for Zook. He's checked out of the play by Micheletti. A shot by Jensen, and Thayer gloves that and hangs on. 19:22 left to go, second period of play.
Let's watch it again. Here you see the shot. Started to rise. Thayer made the glove save and elected to hang on at that point.
Face off to the left of Minnesota goalie Larry Thayer. Delvis and Vanelli on the draw. The puck out front. Shot fired up there by Steele. Another shot. That hits traffic. We have a whistle, and we may have a penalty coming up.
Going to be interference against someone. We'll get the call.
I think it may be on Abbey, but I'm not sure. While they hand it out, there's a break in the action. The score, Michigan Tech 2, Minnesota nothing. Yeah. Okay, just like it looks, okay. Minnesota goes to the power play out in front. Tom Youngins with a shot. And Wharton steers that one on the side. Bruce Abbey has gone to the penalty box for Michigan Tech. 2 minutes for interference.
The time of Abbey's penalty was 46 seconds. If you did a double take, he's taken that mask off that he was wearing in the first period.
Yeah, he has. I think it probably made him uncomfortable. Face-off outside the Tech blue line. It comes to Mike Polich. He steers it over on the side. Reed Larson dumps it in for Minnesota. He's right on. Warden steers it way out in front, held into the blue line by Polich. He fires, and Warden got the stick down on that and steered it into the crowd. Good shot by Polich and a good save by Warden. 1:25 left in the penalty time to Abbey.
Watch it again. Warden tried to clear it himself, but Polich flagged it down at the blue line, just snapped off a quick shot, got it on the net. And there you see the stick saved by Warden.
Puck comes out to Reed Larson. He fires. That hits traffic, and Warden just got the stick on that as it was headed for the lower left-hand corner. Comes out to Polich. He dumps it into the corner. Centering pass out front. A shot by Pippin hits traffic. Comes out to Reed Larson. He drives the shot. That hits traffic out in front. Polich after it. Sends it around the boards. And over to get it is Delvis for Michigan Tech, and he drives it down the ice. 1 minute left in the penalty time to Abbey. 18:13 left to go in the second period of play. Puck comes to Minnesota. Pippin up the right side. Puts on a burst of speed, but he's
Buyer's Club.
by Young.
All it takes is a phone call.
Vanelli in there along with Pippin. They tie it up, and we'll have a face-off.
Face-off will be to Warden's left. You see Warden out of the net to talk to one of his teammates. That's Young.
He may have allowed 5 goals the other night, but he's been tough tonight. He's come up with some positively brilliant saves early here in the second period.
Well, we should say that those last 2 goals came when the game was well out of reach. It was 9-3 at one point in favor of Tech.
And one of the other goals by Boston University was a disputed goal. Face-off to the left of Jim Warden. The draw, Holmgren gets it out to the point. Gophers with it. Auger winds up and fires. He hit Holmgren in the back of the legs with his shot. Paul Holmgren of Minnesota tries to tie it up. Puck dug loose, and it's cleared down the ice by Michigan Tech. It's right on goal, and Larry Thayer has to make the save. Watches Jesse coming after it. It's dug away from him by Micheletti. Micheletti trips and falls. Jesse after the loose puck. Has it. Will try to steer it out to center ice if he can. Fanned on a shot. He's going for the Gopher goal. He trips and falls. And the puck picked up by Joe Micheletti of Minnesota. He's taken into the boards. Puck comes to Lorimer, who drives it back into the Minnesota end. Auger steers it out to center ice. They put it on Lambert's stick. Lambert around one man, trying to get around Young. He's held from behind, centered it, cleared away from in front, held in by Harris. Lorimer back of the net after it. Taken out of the play by Harris. Minnesota comes up with it right out in front. Lambert fanned on the pass. Picked up on the far side by Abbey, who's back out on the ice. Michigan Tech back at full strength. Minnesota dumps it into the Tech zone. They drive it right back down the ice. This will bring an icing call. No, it will not. As Michigan Tech catches up with it first, they feed it out to the point. Mayer with a shot, and it goes wide to the right. Now moving in on it is Young. He overskated the puck. Dumps it out in front, picked off out there by Ferguson for Minnesota. As Minnesota using a 4th line now temporarily. Puck picked up by Michigan Tech. They jump it out to center ice. Now here comes Michigan Tech. Right back. A shot. He hit the side of the net with it. The shot fired in there by Roberts, and he hit the side of the net. Now, here comes Baran up the right side. He's got a man trailing on the play. Fired the shot, picks up the rebound on the near boards. Overskates the puck. Michigan Tech over to get it. They clear it out to center ice. Morrow rink wides a pass. They dump it up to Dahlheim, and Dahlheim drives the puck into the Michigan Tech end. Warden stops it back of the net. They steer it out on the near side for Bouchard. Picked up by Tech. They clear it out to center ice. Fredrickson over after it for Minnesota. Puck comes down into the Minnesota end. Robin Larson after it. He drops it for Varant. Varant steers it up for Fredrickson. Has it bounce off his skates. Almost picked up by Paul Jensen of Tech. Puck comes right out in front, and Brad Morrow clears it in front. Gophers still with the puck, but it's in their own end as Tech's got them pretty well bottled up right now. The Huskies drive it right back in again. Morrow picks it up for Minnesota and dumps it down into the Tech zone. Warden has some trouble handling that relatively easy shot. Jensen steers it around the boards and is driven right down to the Minnesota end, and this will bring another icing call as soon as Minnesota catches up with it. There's a break in the action to score Michigan Tech 2 and Minnesota nothing. Face-off will come at center ice. We've been asked by some of the Minnesota fans to pass along greetings to a young man that did not make the trip for Minnesota. Jim McCoy, who was injured prior to the start of the playoffs and thus had to stay home in Minnesota to watch the game, and it's always tough to do so when your teammates are playing for the national championship. Michigan Tech with the puck. Jensen with it, dumps it into the Minnesota end. Picked off by Minnesota, knocked down out front by Tech's Oslin. His shot goes wide to the left. He tried to hit one of his teammates breaking across the net and could not. Puck poked loose. Minnesota comes up with it. Now Warren Miller starts back for Minnesota. Moving in on his backhand. Tries to get behind the net, does. Dumps it out to the point. Reed Larson partially fanned on a shot. Then he has his second attempt blocked. And here comes Tech back with a 3-on-2 break. Jensen moving in, a drop pass. Back to Jensen. Right out front, they shoot. They score! Lyle, George Lyle. Jensen will get an assist. And I believe Oslin will.
Let's watch it again. Tech making it look easy at this point.
They didn't get over anxious.
Now you're going to see a nice pass right here. Lyle cruising in from the left side. Jensen puts it right on his stick, and bingo, right there.
And it's 3-0 Michigan Tech.
5:21, the time of the goal.
And the Husky rooters are happy. Puck comes to the blue line. Micheletti picks up for Minnesota. Auger drives it down. Here's Vanelli. Has it knocked off his stick. Youngins with a shot. And that's kicked out by Warden. Warden has been superb in goal so far for Tech. Puck in possession of Minnesota. Youngins tries to center it. Steele drops it out. Now here's Delvise up the right side. Moving it in his backhand. He shoots there, makes the save, and clears it off to the side. Puck comes to the near boards. Delvise out to the point. A shot taken there by Jensen. Goes to the far corner. Younger ties it up along the far boards, and we'll have a face-off. 14-11 to go in the second period, and Tech with a commanding 3-0 lead right now. That could be tough for Minnesota. Tech is not the kind of team you can fall 3 goals behind and come back on very easily. Puck comes in the draw. Back to Minnesota's Les Auger. He's checked by Delvise, but comes away with the puck. Still has it. Comes loose on the near side. Picked up by Minnesota. They headman it for Vanelli. Vanelli's pass deflected. Picked up by Micheletti. He lost it. And Phippen has it now for Minnesota. Phippen with a headman pass too far for Youngins. It goes the length of the ice. They wave off any icing. Abbey back after it. Youngins takes him to the boards. They tie it up there, and we'll have a face-off. Tempers come up. Abbey and Youngins push at each other, but nothing's going to develop out of it. And now, one of the Tech players came up and wrapped his arms around Vanelli, who's the smallest man on the ice. I don't know who it is. One of the officials has him by the shoulder. It's not Abbey. Abbey and Youngins just kind of walked away from each other. It's Steele. Bill Steele. Well, he's not much smaller than Vanelli. Steele's 5'7", 170 pounds.
Wider, however.
Vanelli is 5'8", and 160, so there's about a 10-pound difference.
Well, when we get reorganized here, the face-off will be to Warden's left.
13:47 left to go in the second period of play. Here's what led to that scuffle. Really not too much between Abbey and Youngins after the initial pushing and shoving. Now there's Vanelli minding his own business, and he comes up and says, "Oh yeah?" Face off to the left of Warden. Comes right out in front. Tech picks it up. Here comes Steele back. He already has 1 goal. To the Minnesota blue line. Trying to go around to check. He's shoved to the ice by Morrow. Puck cleared out to the blue line. Lorimer with a drive into the far corner. A shot deflected wide to the left by Younger. Back of the net they battle. Puck comes loose to Morrow of Minnesota. As Holmgren was tied up with Delvise. Puck comes to the near side. Harris with the lead pass out front for Lambert. Lambert can't control it. It's picked up by Minnesota. Here's Holmgren with shot deflected. It goes to the corner. Lambert after it. Has some trouble controlling the puck. They'll try to tie it up. Tech will change here, so there's a break in the action. The score, Michigan Tech 3, Minnesota nothing. Somewhere in the third period. On the draw, the puck comes out to center ice. Carried on in by Minnesota, but Tech comes right back with it. Here is Roberts to the Minnesota blue line. Thayer steers that to the far corner. Morrow with it, dumps it right out in front. Comes across the blue line, and Tech will have to go back and regroup. Wilcox has it for Tech, dumps it right back into the Minnesota end. Robin Larson with it for Minnesota. Defending NCAA champs, and they're down by 3. 3-0 to a hustling group of Huskies from Michigan Tech. Puck comes off the near boards. Lambert drives it down to the blue line. Wilcox drives it right back into Minnesota's end. And it's tipped into Paul Holmgren. Holmgren can't control the puck. Now it's picked up by Robbie Harris. He shoots, and Warden gloves that and hangs on. Jim Warden, he's been the difference in this hockey game, I think, right now, Roger.
He looks very strong right now, looking very confident. Watch it again. Here you see the shot by Harris. Kept it low to the ice. See Warden get the glove out. He's playing very well.
Face off to the left of Warden. Polish and Zook again on the draw. Polish gets the draw, comes out to Russ Anderson. He shoots. That hits traffic out in front. Miller with a shot. He hit traffic, and it goes up into the crowd. I think it was Wilcox that got his stick on it. One of the Tech defensemen did. 12:22 left to go. Second period of play. Here it is again. And
Watch
there's
it
the
again.
loose puck out in front. It was Abbey. Bruce Abbey made the deflection for Michigan Tech. That pass offside, so that'll bring a face-off out at center ice. Tech with a 3-0 lead. They finished as runner-up to Minnesota in the WCHA race. Last year, the situations were reversed. Minnesota finished as runner-up to Tech in the WCHA race, and it was Tech that won the NCAA crown. Zook collides out front with Anderson. Zook goes down. We had a whistle and an offside call. Face-off will come outside the Minnesota blue line. Again, Zook and Polish. Polish gets the draw back to Anderson of Minnesota. He dumps it out to center ice. Zook has it. Dumps it in, and we have an offside call, as obviously offside was Lyle, about 4 or 5 feet. Tempo of the game really has not slowed much throughout the first period and a half. Tech has had some opportunities. They have cashed in on them. Minnesota has had opportunities, but Warden's been able to thwart them each time. Warren Miller with the puck, being checked by Lyle. Still has it, drives it out to the blue line. Polish has it, can't pick it up. A shot by Jensen, deflection. They shoot. Oh, and Lyle fired it right into the side of the net, but we had had a whistle prior to that, as Tech was called offside, so it would not have counted had it gone in. Well, that looked like another big chance for Tech right there. Minnesota.
Tech really dominating at this point.
Yes, they are. Minnesota has been caught with some of the Tech players behind their defensemen, and that's cost them so far. Puck cleared out to center ice. Lambert over after it. He drives it down the ice. Race for it back there. Polish and Jensen go to the boards.
Delayed penalty.
And Michigan Tech. Lyle is going to go to the penalty box again. Tripping to call. So Minnesota has another power play opportunity. And how long Michigan Tech can keep thwarting Minnesota on these power play chances. You can go to the well once too often, but so far, when their defensemen have not been able to keep the puck clear of the net, Jim Warden has.
Take a look at the penalty. There you see it right there. Now, play continued on down the ice, but the delayed penalty had been called at that point. And of course, the play continued until Tech gained control of it.
Benelli and Steele on the draw. Draw control by Tech, and they clear it down the ice off the face-off. Race for it, Reed Larson. And Jesse. Larson is decked from behind by Jesse. Puck picked up by Polish. Larson took a swipe at Jesse as they went by. Larson with it. Reed Larson, freshman defenseman, feeds it over on the near side to Youngins. Youngins puts on the steam, being checked from behind. Puck comes loose. Warden steers it off to the side. Puck comes out to the point. Larson lines it up. Oh, and Warden made the save. They jab away at the loose puck, and Warden's on top of it. And Warden wants a piece. The light went on. Wait a minute now. They may have scored.
Well, the light is on. We'll see. I don't know what happened exactly.
The puck is in the net.
The puck is in the net.
Now, we may have some discussion about this. Warden had the puck under his glove. Somebody may have jabbed it loose. We're not going to call it a goal yet.
I don't think it's going to be a goal.
The puck is in the net, and that's all the goal judge has to account.
I think the official may have, the official.
Yeah, no, there's no goal.
Dead.
No
So
goal.
there's no goal. We'll see it again. There you see Warden with a stop. Well, the puck is loose at this point. Everybody takes a swipe at it. The referee,
Still loose. There it is, right there.
The referee loses sight of it at this point, and the whistle is blown. I think you're going to come or see it dribbling between his skates. Well, we didn't see it, but it's in the net, and the red light is on.
There it
at
goes
this
right
point.
now, but the play had already been whistled dead.
Play had been whistled dead.
Youngins after it. Minnesota on the power play. They get it out front, knocked away by Young, and it's picked up by Lorimer. He dumps it out to center ice. Reed Larson picks it up there. Comes to the blue line, has the puck knocked off his stick, picked up by Polish, knocked away from him by Jesse. A couple of players goes down, and here comes Michigan Tech out with the puck. Tech with it. They dump it in. Jesse and Polish go back behind the net. Puck comes around, fed to Reed Larson. 1 minute left to go in the penalty to Lyle. Here's Phippen moving in, checked out of the play by Young and just tossed to the ice. Vanelli digs after the puck, dumps it back of the net. Youngins gives chase. Tries to drop it over on the far side to Vanelli. Vanelli moving around. He shoots. That hits traffic out in front. Tipped up in the air. It comes down on the left-hand side of the net. Picked up by Youngins. Tried to center it. Has some trouble with it. Puck comes loose, and Michigan Tech picks it up and drives it down the ice. 36 seconds left in the penalty time. A race now as Reed Larson goes back after it. He's taken into the boards by Jensen. Polish digs the puck out. Almost lost it. Comes to Paul Holmgren, and it's picked up now by Polish. Mike Polish of Minnesota. Rink wide's the pass for Reed Larson. Just 20 seconds left in the penalty time to Abbey. That's stolen by Zook. Zook in the far corner as Minnesota gets careless again. Zook back of the net. Dumps it right out in front. Comes out to Young. Young lines it up and dumps it back into the corner. Zook with it. Down to 7 seconds left in the penalty time. Held in out there by Lorimer. He dumped it off. Paul Jensen fed out now to Lambert. Michigan Tech is back at full strength as Young picks up the puck, banks it off the boards, held in by Lambert. He can't control it. Now he regains possession of it. Holmgren after it, dumps it into the corner. Young after it. He dumps it. We have a whistle, and what will be the call?
Holmgren's going to go.
Paul Holmgren. No, wait a minute now. No, I think they just called playing the puck above the shoulder with the stick.
It went up over the glass. I thought they were going to get him for a penalty. He took a swipe at one of the Tech players, but no penalty, obviously. Here you see Lambert. Puck comes loose. Holmgren will pick it up right here, and they go to the boards. There you see the puck going up over the glass.
It will come in the Tech zone because a Tech player put it up into the crowd. On the draw, Lambert comes away with it, moves into the corner. Abbey takes him up against the boards. Centering pass comes loose out in front, picked off by Tech. They drive it out to center ice. Robin Larson picks it up there for Minnesota. Gets it over to Morrow. Morrow dumps it in. He's right on, and Warden handles that easily. Drops it back of the net. Abbey taken into the boards hard, and hold on, there's a delayed penalty coming up against Minnesota's Paul Holmgren.
I think it's going to be Robbie Harris elbowing.
Abbey got hurt. He's all right now. Seems to be shaking it off. So there's a break in the action. The score, Michigan Tech 3, Minnesota nothing. Tech goes to the power play now. They already have a 3-0 lead, so it's a big chance for them to give themselves a very big cushion. Puck in the Minnesota end. Zook has it, moving in. He drives the shot there, makes the save, and the puck cleared away from in front of the net. Puck held in by Jensen. Jensen gets it into Delvis. Jensen with a shot, and that's cleared away by Auger. Sends a weak shot into the corner, picked off by Steele. Steele, centering pass out in front. Delvis after it, out to the point to Abbey. Abbey with it. Abbey feeds it over to Jensen, a little bit too far. Race for it. The Gophers bang away at it. Picked up by Minnesota. Warren Miller with it. Dumps it down into the Tech end, and Paul Jensen goes back and picks it up for Michigan Tech. 1:19 left in the penalty time to Rob Harris. Puck picked up by Jensen. Moves to center ice for Tech. He's checked out of the play. Regains possession. Delvis has it. At center ice, fanned on a pass. Puck picked up. Micheletti overskated it. Now Schneider pokes it off to the side. Miller picks it up, moving in. He cranks up and fires. That hits Abbey in the skates. Miller still after the puck. It's picked up now by Zook. Zook brings it back towards the Minnesota blue line. Gets it over on the side to Delvis. He shoots there, makes the save. Couldn't find it for a moment. Then dumped it back of the net. They bring it out on the side to Lorimer. Over on the far side. Abbey drives a shot. That hits traffic. Zook on a backhander. He's checked from behind by Micheletti. Micheletti with it. He bangs it off the boards. Abbey can't hold it in. 39 seconds left in the penalty time to Rob Harris. Puck comes to Abbey. Feeds it over on the near boards. Minnesota picks it off. They get it out to the blue line. Michigan Tech after it. Miller can't handle it. Now he and Steele battle for the puck. It goes down into the Tech zone. Miller dug it loose and dumped it into the Tech end. Michigan Tech with it. They try to hit Paul Jensen with her. Steve Jensen with the pass. 19 seconds left in the penalty. Micheletti carries on into the Tech zone. Still has it. Down he goes. Wanted to call but didn't get it, and the puck comes off to Steele. Here comes Tech back. Last moments of the penalty. Jensen moving in his backhand. He's taken out of the play by Dahlheim, and the puck's back of the Minnesota net. Dahlheim with it. Takes it up along the boards. Dug loose. Tech has it out front. A backhand shot steered wide to the corner. After it, Tech. Lyle with it. Feeds it out to the point. Minnesota back at full strength. Puck right out in front. They overskate it. Tech still has it. Centering pass cleared away from in front. It's cleared out to center ice and picked up out there by Lorimer, who dumps it back into the Minnesota end. Loose puck just lays there. Picked up now by Lyle. Tried to steer it out to the point. Had it deflected. Regains possession. It comes right out in front. Pat Pippen has it for Minnesota. Headmans it for Polic. Polic, rink-wide pass meant for Dahlheim. Couldn't control it. It's dumped out to center ice by Murray. Driven right back in by Auger of Minnesota. Puck in the Tech end. Minnesota changing on the fly. Puck comes out to center ice. Race for it there. Anderson back to pick it up for Minnesota. Weak pass comes back to Reed Larson. He hits one of the Tech players with his pass. Now Pippen puts it on the stick of Vanelli, and Minnesota starts back. Vanelli to the blue line, around a screen, a drop pass for Youngans. He didn't see it, and it's cleared back out to center ice by Tech. We have a delayed penalty coming up. Now they wave it off. No, it was no penalty. It was simply an icing call. But they waved it off. Now the puck picked up by Minnesota's Pippen. Pippen trying to get it over to Vanelli. Vanelli moving in. A race with Lorimer. Pippen after the puck. Tech picks it up as Steele gets it over on the side. Got it to Mayer. Mayer avoids the check, carries on into the corner. Tried to center it. He's checked out of the play by Larson. Youngin has it. Youngins, they tie it up along the board. So there's a break in the action. The score, Michigan Tech 3, Minnesota nothing. Puck comes out to center ice. A long shot there. Has some trouble with it. Underneath his pads. Robin Larson steers it over to Morrow. Morrow headmans to Harris. Harris a rink-wide pass. Picked off by Tech. Harris regains possession of it. Tech with a 3-0 lead. Puck driven into the Tech zone. We have 5:17 left to go in the second period of play. Michigan Tech dominating so far. Puck fed up the near boards. Jesse cruising in, and an offside call as Robin Larson had gone down to try to block the shot. But we had the whistle and an offside call outside the Michigan Tech, or the Minnesota blue line.
Only 5:09 remaining in the second period. Michigan Tech, at this point, looks as though one more goal and they might be gone. That's how well they're playing at this point.
They have played well in their own end. And they've waited for the breaks in the Minnesota end, and when they've presented themselves, they have taken them. Minnesota has had chances, but Jim Warden has been the difference so far, and the Tech goalie has been outstanding in his hockey game. Puck at center ice. Dumped into the Gopher zone. We have an offside whistle. Face off again. Well, this time it'll come inside the Minnesota blue line. Mayer and Lambert on the draw. They bring it back to Wilcox. Wilcox feeds it over on the far side. A long shot. Thayer watches that slide by the net. Picked up back of the net by Morrow. He's taken into the boards hard. Puck picked off by Michigan Tech. Holmgren sends Mayer to the ice. We have a whistle. And there'll be a face-off in the Minnesota zone. 4:47 left to go in the second period of play. Michigan Tech with a 3-0 lead.
There you see Morrow. He goes down under a check right there. Puck comes loose in the corner. Holmgren moves in. They tie it up. And the official has blown the whistle.
Well, I hope you're enjoying the game. I'm sure the fans in Michigan are. Fans in Minnesota right now not too happy with the way the score goes. And the fans out in Boston, I hope, content with seeing a good collegiate hockey game. For the national championship, the puck comes out in front. Pulled away by Dahlheim from Minnesota. He moves to center ice. To the Tech blue line, loses control of the puck. And the puck's cleared back out to center ice. Minnesota's had some trouble with their passing and their stick handling so far in the hockey game. Now here comes Tech back. Jesse moving in. He shoots, and down in front to block that one is Auger. Puck right out in front. Loose puck, and skating by the side of the net is Mayer. He never got control of it. Fredrickson over to pick it up. Tries to trap it up along the boards. Auger takes one of the Tech players into the boards. And now he gets some kicking and shoving and pushing. But the officials step in, control things. And we don't get much out of that.
Tech is going to make a change. They'll send out a whole new unit at this point.
They send out Steele, Younger, Delvis. Now let's see. Paul Jensen is out there. And who else? Abbey. I guess that's it. Puck comes out. Delvis with a shot. He's wide to the left with it. Loose puck cleared off to the side by Minnesota. Picked up by Dahlheim. He clears it out to center ice. Banked off the boards. Picked up by Dahlheim. Minnesota had to get back on side. Loose puck picked up by Verant. Verant pokes at it. Now Dahlheim after it. Picked up by Steele. Steele being checked by Dahlheim from behind. Puck comes down the Minnesota blue line. Stolen by Delvis. Moving in. He shoots. He fired it wide to the left. Younger over after it for Tech. As Michigan Tech controlling play right now. Back of the net. Delvis tried to stuff it in, but he had it slip off his stick, and here comes Minnesota back again. Dahlheim dumps it in. Verant races after it. He and Jensen. Oh, Verant comes away with it. His centering pass hit the net. Over on the far side, the puck comes loose. Over after it is Younger. Auger with him. They hold it in along the boards. They kick at it. It pops loose. Delvis has it and gets it out to Steele. Steele at center ice just dumps it down into the Minnesota end with 3:28 left to go in the second period of play. Dahlheim around the boards. A little bit too far, and it's held in by Abbey. Picked off his stick. Abbey regains possession. He shoots it. He hit the side of the net with it. Auger with it. Steers it back of the net. Rob Harris comes over and picks it up for Minnesota. Joe Micheletti, rather, cleared out to center ice. Minnesota seemingly content right now to just try to keep the puck out of their zone as Tech's putting on constant pressure. Auger with it. Hits Polic with a pass. Mike Polic, the senior center, moves to the Tech blue line. Puts on a burst of speed, trying to go around Lorimer. Can't, centers it. It comes right out in front and cleared away to the side by Jensen. Picked up by Schneider. He drives a shot that's wide to the left, and Tech comes away with it. Tech clears it out to center ice. Picked up there by Reed Larson. He dumps it right back in. Warren Miller gives chase. Walden out of the net. Loose puck picked up. The Gophers couldn't control it. Tech comes away with it. Now they battle back of the net. We get a whistle, and we'll have a face-off. 2:36 left to go in the second period. Face-off will come to the right of goalie Jim Warden.
There's a shot that hit the side of the net and skidded off into the corner.
Face-off comes to the right of Jim Warden, the Tech goalie. Draw one by Zook that time. Lorimer back to pick it up for the Huskies of Michigan Tech, having some trouble handling it. Polish checking him from behind, wheels away from it, dumps it up the boards and gets it to Lyle. Lyle taken out of the play. Now the puck picked up by Larimore. Gets it up the side to Zook. Zook trying to go around Reed Larson, loses it. They get it out to Warren Miller. Miller on his backhand sends a rink-wide pass for Buzz Schneider, and he drives it to the Tech blue line, knocked down there by Young, and he dumps it back into the Minnesota end. Fair out of the net. Leaves it. Loose puck comes off on the side. Schneider after it, steers it back into the corner with 2 minutes left to go in the period. Schneider with it. Minnesota needs a goal fairly soon if they're going to get back in it. Reed Larson banks it out to the blue line, held in by Young. His shot hits traffic. Anderson clears the puck away from in front. Held in by, let's see, Murray with the shot, and Thayer had to make the save on that one. Now here's Minnesota back to the attack. They dump it into the Tech zone. Minnesota wants to change. Puck driven back down the ice, and that will, no icing, they say. Robin Larson back to pick it up for Minnesota with 1.5 minutes left to go in the period. On the far side, Larson trying to dig it out. Taken out of the play by Roberts. Puck back of the net. Roberts digs it out in front. A shot. There, they score! I believe it was Scott Jesse.
I think so. Went right between Thayer's legs, I believe. Again, Minnesota loose in their own end. That's been their downfall here tonight, and in fact caused most of their problems against Harvard on Thursday night. You see, he didn't get much on it. I think it hit the inside of Thayer's leg and went in. Time of the goal is 18:40.
And Minnesota has dug themselves quite a hole. They're down 4-0 to a very strong Michigan Tech hockey team. Tech dumps it in. They're back of the net. They steer it around the boards. Morrow steers it further. Pippen picks it up, gets it to Vanelli. Vanelli over to Youngins up the right side. He fires, and he's wide to the right with his shot. Back of the net. Vanelli after it, steers it out. Pippen picks it up on the backhand. He shoots. That hits traffic and goes back of the net with 1 minute left to go in the period. Youngins tries to stuff it in. It goes right through the crease. Puck picked up by Tech. Jesse clears it out to center ice. Vanelli over after it for Minnesota. Carries on in, gets it to Pippen. Back to Vanelli in the corner. Vanelli with it. Tries to steer it out front. Comes out to Morrow. He cranks up and fires, and that's deflected up into the crowd with 40 seconds left to go in the period.
Scott Jesse got the goal for Michigan Tech at 18:40 from Jim Mayer and from Peter Roberts.
Face-off will come in the Michigan Tech zone out near the blue line. Deal and Harris getting awfully close to the two participants in the draw. Lambert comes away with the puck, still has it. Now he loses it. Picked up by Younger. Younger up the left side. Knocked off his stick by Auger. Auger wraps it behind him and comes out to the blue line. They shoot from there, and that hits traffic out in front as Abbey took the shot. Came over to Holmgren. Comes to Lambert now. Knocked away from him. Paul Holmgren has it. Steers it up to the Michigan Tech zone. Abbey picks it off. Clears it out to center ice. Loose puck picked up by Micheletti. Micheletti has it knocked off his stick by Delvis. Now here comes Tech back again. Delvis drives his shot, and he's wide to the right with it. Harris trying to clear it out. Cleared off to the side by Micheletti. Lambert has it and clears it out to center ice. Picked up there by Tech with just 2 seconds left to go in the period. Shot fired wide. We have a whistle and an offside call. With 1 second left to go, all we have time left for is the draw. And Michigan Tech, with a leg over the saddle, so to speak, towards that NCAA crown. That's it. That's the siren as they drop the puck. And that's the end of the second period. Roger, a recap.
Scoring in the period, George Lyle of Tech from Steve Jensen and Stu Ostlund at 5:21. Then Scott Jesse from Jim Mayer and Peter Roberts at 18:40. Penalties in the period. Bruce Abbey of Tech went for interference at 46 seconds. George Lyle of Tech for tripping at 8:19. Then Robbie Harris of Minnesota for elbowing at 11:53. I'm sorry I did not hear the shot zone goal as they were announced over the PA. At this point, really, it seems a little incidental because Michigan Tech is playing so well and Minnesota not playing well at all. That Michigan Tech is very dominant at this point in the game.
So through 2 periods of play, Michigan Tech with a margin. They score after 2. Michigan Tech 4, Minnesota nothing. Or at least the crowd indicates that they are coming back on the ice. Here they are, the Huskies from Michigan Tech with a 4-0 lead right now. In this third period, Tech will be going right to left on your screen, Minnesota left to right. While we have the chance here, we can thank our staff. The facilities provided by Locklead Communication Services. Our director has been Kent Samuel. A coordinators, I guess we should say, Jim Pence, Ron Geiselhart from WTCN in Minneapolis, and Al Potter of WGBH TV in Boston. And we'd also like to welcome the folks up in the Michigan area to our broadcast. You have a right now to be very, very proud of this Husky hockey team. They have played extremely well tonight. I think outside of the goalie play of Warden, Roger, if there is a difference, it's been the fact that Michigan Tech, I think, has played the better hockey game, at least in their own end of the rink. That's where Minnesota has dug their hole, is in the end that they're defending, and Tech has been a little bit the better of the team in their own end particularly.
I would agree. I think that's very much the story of the game. As we mentioned earlier, Minnesota had the same problem on Thursday night in their game with Harvard before they finally got on track. And they've had more of the same here tonight, so that's basically what's gotten them in the situation they now find themselves in.
Well, don't go away. Still 20 minutes of hockey to go, and in hockey, anything can happen. On the draw, Minnesota controls it, dumps it out to center ice. Lyle drives it right back in for Michigan Tech. Auger back to pick it up for Minnesota. Has some trouble with the puck. Gets it to Warren Miller. He banks it off the boards, picks up his own rebound, steers it out to center ice, and then Young dumps it right back into the Minnesota end. They're out of the net. Lyle with the puck, a loose puck. They shoot. They're down to make the save. He's still down. The puck steered off to the side, finally by Miller. Tech with it. Bouchard moving in. And we're going to have a penalty coming up on Joe Micheletti. He will go for interference, I believe. So Joe Micheletti will go to the penalty box, and Michigan Tech will go to the power play, and should they score here, they'd be tough.
Let's watch it again. You'll see Micheletti dump Zook right out in front of the net. It's coming up here in just a moment. There you see Zook in the crease, and down he goes right there. There you see the official with his arm up. Time of the penalty is 28 seconds.
So Michigan Tech goes to the power play at the outset of the third period. They already lead 4-0. I don't think, Roger, that any of the Tech goals have been power play goals.
No, they've all been...
so we've had no power play goals scored, and both teams have had opportunities. So the penalty killing units of both teams have been very, very efficient so far. Steele, Zook, Lorimer, Wilcox, and I can't see the number of the player over on the far side. Most likely it's Delvis. Minnesota has Polic, Auger, Schneider, and there's still a player short. And we have 3 men out there.
Now Anderson coming on. So
Russ Anderson comes on. Bob Delvis is the 5th skater for Michigan Tech. 5-4, a skating situation that favors Michigan Tech right now. On the draw, Polic gets it to Anderson. He drives it out to center ice. It's picked up out there by Lorimer. And he headmans the puck on the far boards, trying to get it to Delvis. It's loose, picked up by Minnesota's Mike Polic. Polic with it, carries up the right side. He's got a man with him, but he could not get it over to by Schneider. The puck comes back into the Minnesota end. They get it over to Les Auger, who carries it back of his own net. Almost lost it, now banks it off the boards. Polic after it, but Lorimer gets there first. Schneider intercepts that pass. Lorimer over to pick it up. Being checked by Schneider from behind. Puts it on Delvis' stick. He fakes the shot. Now he shoots, and Auger goes down to block that loose puck. Cleared away by Thayer. Picked up by Zook. Gets it out to Lorimer. He fires. That hits traffic out in front. Picked up by Michigan Tech. They wheel around, Steele with it, puts it beside the net. Delvis brings it out to Lorimer. Lorimer with it. On the left point, drops it into Zook. Zook moving in. He fires it over across the crease. Now here's a shot. Hits traffic right there. They score. Delvis. Bob Delvis puts Michigan Tech up 5-0. And that could just about do it.
Watch it again. The time of the goal is 1:26. Delvis with the goal. Here you see the shot right there. Thayer makes a stop, but falls, and there's no way he can get back. Delvis just comes in behind and taps it in.
Well, about all you can say is with a 5-0 lead, Tech has got the door to the throne room well open, and it would take a miraculous comeback, certainly the greatest comeback I've ever seen in a hockey rink, for Minnesota to pull this one out. They're down 5-0. Said earlier, though, they've been down before. We'll see what happens. Tech right now with a commanding 5-0 lead. Pippen after the puck drives it into the Tech end. Gordon back at the net. Abbey steers it clear. Pippen over after it, trying to get it away from Jensen, but he can't. Steered out to center ice. Here comes Michigan Tech back 2-on-1. Drop pass for Lyle. Moving in. He shoots there. Saves. Loose puck out in front. Picked up by Vanelli of Minnesota. Dumps it over on the far side. Meant for Pippen. Jensen steers it back to his own blue line. Gets it back there to Paul Jensen. Now the puck picked up out front by Michigan Tech. A shot fired up there by Ostlund goes over the top of the net. Along the near boards, the puck comes loose, back of the net. They get it up at the blue line and out to center ice. Pass goes too far. They wave off any icing. Paul Jensen after it. That's Vanelli after him, trying to force the face-off, and he does. There's a break in the action. The score, Michigan Tech 5, Minnesota 0. On the faceoff, the puck comes to Michigan Tech. Centering pass goes wide to the far corner. Picked up by Harris of Minnesota. Puts it out on the stick of Lambert. Lambert on a backhand pass, a little bit too far for Holmgren. It's poked back out to center ice by Michigan Tech. Robin Larson picks it up there. Gets it over on the far side to Morrow. Morrow's pass for Holmgren, and he dumps it into the far corner. Lorimer back after for Michigan Tech. Check from behind. The puck comes loose. Holmgren centering pass. Nobody there, and it's picked off by Michigan Tech's Peter Roberts. Roberts starts back to center ice. Dumps it up the right side. Losing it is Bouchard, and the puck picked up by Lambert of Minnesota. Dumps it over on the far side. They bank it off the boards for Harris. Harris puts it on Lambert's stick. Cruises in, but has the puck knocked off his stick, and Tech clears it again out to center ice. It'll go all the way down into the Minnesota end. Mayer and Morrow go after it. Morrow gets there first, sends it around the boards to Rob Harris, and Harris starts back for Minnesota. Minnesota so far unable to crack the defense of the Michigan Tech Huskies and the goaltending of Jim Warden. Puck out at center ice. Tech right now content to just check and keep them out of their zone. Here's Younger after it, and it's poked away at the last minute. Morrow clears it along the near boards. Minnesota with it. Lambert trying to put it on the stick on the far side of Harris. Poked away from Lowermore, and now here comes Harris in. Down he goes, and Tech's going to go to a shorthanded situation. Puck comes loose, and Minnesota will go to the power play with 16:20 left to go in the hockey game. Lorimer goes to the penalty box for tripping, and Minnesota has another power play opportunity.
Time of the penalty on Lorimer. We get another look at it right here. Time is 3:40. Here you see Harris going down.
And there's a look at Lorimer in the penalty box. Minnesota has not been able to capitalize on a power play. Neither had Michigan Tech until the third period, when Delvis scored. Thus far, Jim Warden has been the Rock of Gibraltar in the Michigan Tech net. Delvis to face off with Mike Polich. In the Tech zone, the puck comes out, moving in. Auger, he shoots that his traffic out in front. Polich cruises into the corner after it, moves in, centers it, loose puck out in front. Warden sprawls to cover it up. Sticks come up in the air as Steele and Miller got him up there, but nothing comes of it.
Michigan Tech penalty to number 5, Bob Larimer. 2 minutes for Huskies.
Larimer in the penalty box for another minute and 52 seconds. Minnesota on the power play, and if ever a team needed a goal, Minnesota does right here. On the draw, the puck comes to Michigan Tech. Steele picks it up and clears it down the ice. Bill Steele's played a strong game for a freshman. Dumps the puck into the Minnesota end. Picked up back there by Schneider. Schneider sends it back of the net. Or he's a senior, excuse me. I said a freshman. Steele's a senior. Now here comes Minnesota back. Schneider stick handling his way. Can't get around Abbey. He's taken into the boards. Steele picks it up and lofts it high in the air out to center ice. Minnesota will have to go back and regroup with 1:23 left in Lorimer's penalty. Micheletti with it. Dumps it along the far boards. Miller carries it in, but an offside call. And Minnesota will have to go back outside the Tech blue line for the faceoff. 15:38 left to go in the hockey game. 1:18 left to go in the penalty.
Both teams are going to make a change. Pippen, Vanelli, and Young hands on for Minnesota, along with Polich and Reed Larson.
Vanelli on the draw.
Decker is out for Michigan Tech.
Draw comes to Reed Larson. He dumps it up to the blue line to Pippen. Puts it on Vanelli's stick. He fanned on a shot. And through to pick it up is Youngins. Youngins moving in. Drops it back of the net. Centering pass just a little bit too far for Vanelli. It crosses the blue line. Minnesota will have to go back again and regroup. 1 minute left to go in Lorimer's penalty. Now here's Vanelli moving in. A little bit too far. The pass for Youngins. Youngins trying to steer it away from Murray over on the far side. They pick it loose, but the whistle had already blown, and we'll have a face-off in the Michigan Tech end with 52 seconds left in the penalty time to Lorimer. Minnesota desperately needs a goal. They're down 5-0. Michigan Tech 15 minutes and 12 seconds away from the NCAA title. On the draw, they battle. Pippen picks it up for Minnesota. Here's a shot by Polich, and Warden gloves that and hangs on. Another face-off in the Tech zone with 46 seconds left. Minnesota has had some pressure on this power play, but Warden has been tough. Puck hops over Polich's stick. Minnesota will have to go back and regroup. A real race now as Jesse moves down. Bear fires the puck over to the far side, picked up by Pippen. He's decked. As coming up to hit him was Dana Decker. Now the puck comes out to center ice. Pippen went down from a check. Vanelli carries on, looks for some help out to the blue line. Polich cranks up and fires. Warden makes the save, pulls it in, and hangs on. 19 seconds left in Lorimer's penalty. And I don't think it's been the Tech defense that's held him out this time. It's been strictly Warden. Minnesota's had some cracks at it.
Get a chance to look at it again. Here you see Pippen go down under a big check. Now Minnesota carrying on. Here's Polic inside the blue line. He drives the shot. Worden gets over to get the pad on it and scoops it in to cover up.
I think that's about the 4th or 5th save that Worden has made on this power play. Jensen picks up the puck, trying to clear it out to center ice. Morrow holds it in for Minnesota. Moving in, he cranks up and he fires. Worden makes the save, and Abbey drives it down the ice. Just 8 seconds left in Lorimer's penalty, so Tech has killed it off. Robin Larson puts it right out in front of the net and almost put it on the stick of a Michigan Tech player. Michigan Tech back at full strength. Puck carried in by Tech, so there'll be no offside here. Puck out at center ice. Minnesota gets back onside, but the whistle blew anyway. I think that was a little bit of a quick whistle because Minnesota had gotten back onside from up here, but it's easier to see from up here than when you're standing down there. 14-13 left to go in the hockey game. Michigan Tech with a commanding 5-0 lead. 5th time these two teams have met. They've split even up till now. Puck on the draw comes back to Morrow. He drives it right back in. Abbey picks it off and banks it off the boards out to center ice for Lyle. Pass steered away. Now Tech picks it up, but an offside call.
Paul Holmgren of Minnesota will get a penalty here for elbowing.
Okay, while they dole the penalty out, there's a break in the action. The score, Michigan Tech 5, Minnesota 0.
Gets 2 for elbowing for Minnesota at 5:55, so Tech on the power play.
And the Huskies converted their last power play opportunity. A similar event here would just about put all the nails in the coffin as far as the University of Minnesota's hopes of successfully defending their NCAA crown would go. Puck in the Minnesota end, held in. We get a whistle, and playing the puck forward with the hand is the call. And it was by a Minnesota player, so the faceoff will come in the Minnesota end. There's a look at Mike Varant of the Gophers, number 25. Face-off in the Gopher end. Zook on the draw loses it. The puck goes all the way back down into the Michigan end. Picked up down there by Lorimer. Lorimer with it. Tried to drop it. Nobody picked it up. Now Zook has it. Slowly to center ice. Mike Zook, and Tech way offside as Delvis is in, and that brings the whistle. He was looking for the pass. Didn't get it. And thus was about 4 or 5 feet offside. 1:21 left in the penalty time to Paul Holmgren. Minnesota skating shorthanded. Coach Herb Brooks decides to change his men up front and send Schneider and Polic back out there. Varant comes off for Minnesota, and Dahlheim comes off for Minnesota. Draw control by Michigan Tech. Joe Micheletti after it. Picks up the puck, moves back of his own net, looks for a spot, finds it, and picked off by Michigan Tech. They get it over on the side to Steele. Fair down, the loose puck, and he gloves it and hangs on. And Steele has the stick knocked out of his hands by Micheletti, but the officials step in. 1:09 left to go, and the penalty to Paul Holmgren. That Tech band has been going a lot of the third period, Roger.
Yeah. They're going to live it up right now. Let's watch it again. Here you see Steele moving in. Tries to jam it between Thayer's legs. The puck comes up and he catches it in the chest.
Steele took a whack at Thayer, and that's what brought the wrath of Joe Micheletti down on him. Face-off will come to the right of Minnesota goalie Larry Thayer. 13-14 left to go in a hockey game. 1:09 left to go into penalty time to Paul Holmgren. Minnesota taking plenty of time right now on these shift changes. Ostlund went out to say something to Murray. On the draw, the puck comes to Lyle. Abbey with it, trying to drop it back in. It's kicked loose. Abbey picks it up, gets it over to Lyle. Lyle trying to dump it in the corner, receives the return pass, a backhand shot, he scores! Lyle! His second goal of the night, and Michigan Tech leads it 6-0. Another power play goal for Tech. And that should just about do it.
Let's watch it again. You see Lyle go to his backhand. He gets it up high, and it went in over Thayer's shoulder. So you go right there. It's a rising shot. Went through traffic. I guess it went under his arm. I beg your pardon. It wasn't as high as I thought it was, but it went through a lot of traffic. 6:56 the time of the goal. That's a power play goal.
Well, Larry Thayer having a rough night, not due entirely to his own faults. Young man that through most of the season led the WCHA in goaltending statistics, but he's had 6 big ones potted by him tonight. And again, all of them cannot be laid at his doorstep. Puck comes loose, picked up by Tech, and they drive it down into the Minnesota zone. All the way around, Lyle after it, tried to center it. Warren Miller picks it off for Minnesota. Miller trying to feed a pass up the right side. Knocked down. We're going to have a penalty coming up on Minnesota. And it's going to be on Warren Miller. High sticking, I believe, as he caught Ostlund with the stick. So there's a break in the action. The score, Michigan Tech 6 and Minnesota nothing. On the face-off, the puck comes to Lyle. Moving in, we may have another penalty coming up here.
Anderson's going to go as well.
So Russ Anderson is going to go. I think holding will be the call on Anderson. So now Minnesota has to play 2 men short.
See if we can pick up the penalty again. Anderson is number 17.
Right there.
There you see the penalty call. I suspect it will be holding. That's at 7:21. So Minnesota will be 2 men short.
So the faceoff will come to the right of Larry Thayer. And here in the 3rd period, every time Minnesota has gone a man short, Michigan Tech has scored. They've had 2 power play opportunities prior to this, and they've converted both of them. Their first 2 power plays of the hockey game. And right now, Minnesota finds themselves 3 men short. So John McInnes, although nothing is definite on it yet, may be closing out his career at Michigan Tech with an NCAA title. Certainly looks like it right now. Puck comes out to Murray. Murray gets it over on the far side to Wilcox. Wilcox out front, a shot by Ostlund. That hits traffic out in front. Ostlund retrieves the puck. Auger checking him. Lyle comes in to pick it up. Feeds it out to the point to Murray. He cranks up, gets it over on the side. Wilcox blast from there. Thayer saves. Rebound cleared away to the side by Micheletti, who picks up the puck, tries to clear it out. It's held in by Wilcox. He has it stolen away by Polic. Now Mike Polic to the Michigan Tech blue line. Cranks up and fires. That's knocked down by Murray. And Warden steers it back of the net. Puck comes loose, picked up by Tech, and they start back again. Long pass picked off by Auger. Auger tried to get it on the side to Polic, could not. Lyle picked it off, and here comes Tech back again. Drop pass and an offside call as Ostlund was lining it up. They rule that Jensen was in offside. 1:04 left in the penalty time to Miller, and 1:15 left in the penalty time to Russ Anderson. Minnesota 2 men short. Pat Fippen comes out. I believe Polic will go off. Now Reed Larson comes out, and Les Auger will go off. Puck comes on the draw over to Lorimer, who drops it for Young. Young carries on into the Minnesota zone. Reed Larson in front of him, takes him up to the boards. Puck comes loose, comes out to the blue line, held in out there by Roberts. He dumps it into Young. Young moving in, drops it out front to Roberts. Roberts avoids the check, gets it over on the side to Young. Young moving in, Minnesota 2 men short. They drop it back of the net. With it back there, Lyle, it comes out to Young. Rink-wide pass goes on the far side, and Bouchard could not handle it. Still has the puck, though. Dumps it into the corner. Tech moving in again. Back of the net with it. Lyle brings it out on the side to Young. Young trying to line it up. They drop it out to the blue line. A shot from there goes wide to the right as Lorimer fired it. Comes back out front. A shot out front by Roberts, deflected as it hits traffic, goes to the side. Bouchard picks it up, knocked away from him. It comes out to the blue line, and it comes across the blue line, and that's an offside call. 8 seconds left in the penalty time to Warren Miller, and 19 seconds left in the penalty time to Russ Anderson. 10:58 left to go in a hockey game. Tech with a great big 6-0 lead.
The Tech fans really beginning to live it up now.
They're weaving back and forth down there, having a ball. Puck comes to Reed Larson, who banks it off the boards, down into the Tech zone. Minnesota will have one man back right now, so they're only one man short. Puck out the blue line, held in by Auger, picked up by Abbey. Bruce Abbey starts back for Michigan Tech. We have 2 seconds left in the penalty time to Anderson, and now he's back on the ice, so Minnesota is back at full strength, and they have successfully killed off a two-man short situation. Puck held in out there by Jensen. He cranks up and fires. That hit traffic out in front. Cleared off to the side by Minnesota. Youngins try to clear out. Gets it down to the Tech blue line, where it's knocked down by Jensen. Comes back to Auger at the Minnesota blue line. Auger spins away from a check, still has it, fires it out at center ice. Youngins can't pick it up, but it is picked up by Minnesota. They get it over to Youngins. He fires, he scores! Tom Youngins breaks up the shutout that had been fashioned by Jim Warden, and Minnesota's on the boards.
Let's watch it again. Here you see Pippen with it, puts it on Younghan's stick, beat him to the far side. Right there, kept it low to the ice, and Warden didn't get the leg over. Time is 9:49. Pippen will get an assist. Excuse me, Joe.
Minnesota finally breaks the ice, and it's now a 6-1 hockey game. But it's late. 10-11 to go in the game. 5-goal lead for Michigan Tech. Don't go away. Puck comes to Minnesota on the draw. They get it up to Vanelli. He tried to steer it over to Pippen, could not. Now here comes Delvis back for Michigan Tech. Moving in, he tried to go around Reed Larson. Centering pass off on the side. They shoot. There makes the save and hangs on. Steele with the shot. There made the save. Pippen and Steele have a few words. Les Auger getting an assist on that goal along with Pippen. 9:57 left to go in the game.
Faceoff will be in the Minnesota end to Thayer's left. Ostlund will take the draw for Tech.
Minnesota goal for number 9, Tom Younghan.
See who will take the draw for
Brand will
Minnesota.
take the draw for Minnesota.
Brant, Fredrickson, and Dahlheim out there, a fourth line for Minnesota. Shot taken by Wilcox, hits traffic. Another shot by Tech goes wide to the left. Minnesota trying to clear it out. Fredrickson fired it right onto the stick of Wilcox, who dumps it right back into the Minnesota end. Thayer behind the net to stop it. Fed around the boards by Robin Larson. Get it over to Tom Dahlheim. Dahlheim off the boards. He meant the pass for Verant, but couldn't get it to him, and the puck comes right back into the Minnesota end. Brad Morrow with it. Over to Robin Larson. Larson feeds it out across the blue line. Picked off there by Wilcox. Now here's Tech moving back. Decker with it as it knocked off his stick. Over skating it is Morrow. He's taken into the boards, and that brings a face-off right there. There's a break in the action. The score, Michigan Tech 6, Minnesota 1.
I'll play it by ear.
On the faceoff, the puck goes back of the Minnesota net. Les Auger after it. Has some problems. Still has the puck, however. Headmans it. Now carries on and dumps it to the blue line. It's cleared away from the attacking Minnesota squad by Murray. Puck dumped again to the blue line. Held out by Abbey. Now they get it up front, and it's picked up by Wilcox. A drop pass for Ostlund and an offside call. We have 8:56 left to go in a hockey game, and it would take a near miracle for Minnesota to pull this one out. They're down by 5.
Tech is going to change. Zook is out along with Lyle. Steve Jensen. Young is out. And also Lorimer.
Lambert, Holmgren. Puck comes on the draw to Micheletti. Dumps it down to the blue line. Tech picks it off there. Young has it. And he just dumps it right back down into the Minnesota end. Race for it now. Ostland after it, but Micheletti gets there first. Sends it around the boards for Harris. Harris puts it into Lambert's skates. They bring it over, and it goes behind the man for whom it was intended, Les Auger. Knocked down to the blue line by Lyle. He drills a shot there, makes the save, and then traps it up against his chest. 8:32 left to go in the game. Time running out for the Golden Gophers of Minnesota. And a title getting nearer for the Huskies of Michigan Tech.
Here's a shot again by Lyle. You'll see Thayer taken high in the chest. It dropped down and got trapped in her sweater. That's where the whistle was blown and necessitated the face-off.
Face-off to the right of Thayer, controlled by Minnesota. They clear it out down the boards. A race for it now. Miller after it. And back to get there first is Lorimer for Michigan Tech. Miller takes him into the boards to try to force the face-off, and that's exactly what he does. That'll bring the face-off in the Michigan Tech end to the left of Jim Worden.
Zook will take the draw for Michigan Tech, and Polic for Minnesota.
Puck in the Tech end, kept in by Robin Larson out front to Schneider. He tried to poke it loose, and now here comes Tech back with Zook leading the way. Zook he takes the shot. There, covers up. Jensen tried to jam it loose. Reed Larson is really decked from behind. I think he got an apology from Lyle, who crashed into him because he backed off on his challenge right away. Larson's really decked.
Watch it again. You see Zook will get the shot. It's a good one away right on the net. There you see Larson. Face off to Thayer's left.
On the draw, the puck goes into the corner. Anderson sends it back of the net to Reed Larson. Larson trying to put it on Polic's stick. He has some trouble with it. Dumps it out to center ice. Warren Miller can't control it. And is driven right back into the Minnesota end by Roberts. Now the puck comes to center ice. Polic dumps it in. Race for it. Warren Miller gets there first. He's taken into the boards by Abbey. They battle along the near boards. Miller goes down on top of Abbey. And Mayer also there. Schneider there. Now Miller gets a little hot. He's trapped up along the boards by Bouchard until tempers calm down. And we'll have a face-off in the Tech zone. Goalie Jim Worden out there, and he got a penalty for roughing the other night in the Boston U game. So he's not afraid to get into things. 7:47 left in this hockey game. Hope you've enjoyed it, wherever you are. The draw controlled by Vanelli. Youngins with a shot that just went wide to the right. Abbey steers it around the boards. Morrow holds it in. Pippen back to give chase. Abbey gets there first for Tech. Dumps it up along the near boards. Morrow, Robin Larson. Now Pippen with a shot. Roberts over after it. He takes it away from one of the Gophers. Puck held in. Picked up now by Abbey. Knocked off his stick by the Gophers. Pippen after it has it knocked off his stick from behind by Abbey. Puck held in, and now it comes out to center ice to Bouchard. Mayer up the right side with it. He's got Roberts breaking for the net. Couldn't get it to him. Picked off by Pippen. Right out in front. Picked off by Bouchard. Now Youngins with it. Rinkwide's the pass to Robin Larson. Larson puts it on the stick of Vanelli. Vanelli to Warren Miller. Moving in on his backhand. Pippen with it now. Hits Robin Larson. He can't control the puck as he collided with one of his own teammates.
Delayed penalty.
And we have a delayed penalty coming up. The Minnesota net is empty. Polic after the puck. Youngins with it now. Youngins wheeling around. A delayed penalty coming up on Tech. They get the stick on it, poke it loose. That will not bring the whistle. Tech never had control of the puck. That's what it requires. Puck comes on the near side to Holmgren. Picked up by Polic. Polic moving to the blue line. Drop pass on the far side for Minnesota. Still with it is Tom Vanelli. Being checked, he drops it behind him to Morrow. Morrow pokes it into the corner. Worden goes up against the glass. He's trapped there, and a couple of the Gophers get in there. Now all the Michigan Tech Huskies get in. We have a little bit of a tussle going on. Mayer pulled out of there by Morrow. Some swipes being taken, and the guy that took him, Jim Murray, just went down with one of the Gophers. Morrow on top of him. Well, we'll get things sorted out here. There's a break in the action. The score, Michigan Tech 6 and Minnesota 1. Okay. Right.
The time of the penalties. Polish is in for Minnesota. I think Warden also got a penalty in that disagreement there, because one of the Tech players has gone to the... There are two Tech players in the penalty box, but I think one of them is in serving Warden's penalty.
Well, you had a shot just a minute ago of the Michigan Tech crowd here, and they've begun to sing Goodbye Gophers, and I'm sure the Minnesota fans here in St. Louis don't like that, and I'm sure that the Gopher fans back in the Twin Cities don't like it, but it's pretty much tit for tat, as the saying goes, because last year the situation was reversed and the Minnesota fans began to sing the same thing to the Huskies in Boston Garden when Minnesota won the NCAA crown. This has been a great rivalry over the years, and I don't think it's going to change over the next few years, because these are both young hockey teams, and they'll have a lot of players back for a long time to come. There's a look at goalie Jim Warden. He is getting wiped off, and he may have taken a little bit of a swat on the top of the head down there.
Minnesota will get a man advantage when all this is sorted out, because Polish is in for the Gophers. Murray and Mayer both in for Michigan Tech.
The penalty is on Mayer and also on Jim Murray. Now, Minnesota was going to get a power play anyway because of the delayed penalty. They controlled the puck for a long time, but never really got a shot on goal out of it. I don't know if you can pick up this Michigan Tech crowd or not, but let's see if we can. The band playing, the fans are ecstatic down there. They're having a ball. There they are. The Huskies of Michigan Tech. They're living it up tonight in St. Louis.
Yes, indeed, they will. They are and they will, you should say, I suppose.
There's a look at Jim Warden.
Well, he's a dominant player in this game.
Yes, he has been. No doubt about it. And unless things change in a hurry, he could just well have played himself into the most valuable player award in the tournament, because I think, without a doubt, he has been the outstanding difference in his hockey game. Minnesota has had their cracks at it, but that young man has all but one occasion kept them out of the net. Right there. .6:28 left to go in the game. Michigan Tech leads it 6-1. Minnesota goes to the power play. Polish in the penalty box for Minnesota. Mayer and Murray in the penalty box for Michigan Tech. So it's a 4-on-3 situation. Important draw here for Minnesota. Steele will take it for Michigan Tech against Vanelli of Minnesota. The draw comes back to Fippen for Minnesota, so Minnesota comes away with the draw. Gophers have the puck. Moving in, they drop it out front to Reed Larson. He cranks up, drives a shot that hits traffic. Picked up by Vanelli. Still has the puck, gets it out front to Larson. Larson trying to get it over on the side of Vanelli. Does so. Vanelli with it. Moving, he drives a shot. That's deflected. Fippen after it. Poked away from him. They go to the near corner after it. Fippen comes away with the puck as he gets it away. And it comes across the blue line, and Minnesota will be called for offside as Reed Larson could not hold it in. Good job done for Michigan Tech there by Lorimer.
And number 4, Jim Murray, 2 minutes for roughing.
Michigan Tech has Steele, Young, and Lorimer out there on their penalty-killing unit. Vanelli gets the draw back to Reed Larson. Larson sends it over on the far side for Les Auger. He carries on, has it knocked off his stick, but Fippen holds it in, gets it to Reed Larson, dumps it right out in front. Vanelli can't handle the puck, and he and Lorimer go down on top of it. It came loose, but the whistle had already blown. 1:17 left in all three of the penalties. So Michigan Tech a man short for the next minute and 17 seconds. 5:45 left to go in the hockey game. Minnesota changing here. They send Lambert and Harris out along with Larson and Auger. Right now, Minnesota may be stick handling a little bit too much. They've just got to pepper Warden and hope that something goes in because they are just about out of time. They're down by 5 with 5:45 to go in the game. Gophers come away with the puck. Harris has it. Drop it out to Reed Larson. He cranks up and fires again. Warden down. He makes the save. And Lambert dumped from behind. Tell you, that one looked like it was by Warden. Larson has got a rifle for a shot out there, but Warden got the stick and the glove down on top of it and trapped it.
Watch it again. There's a shot by Larson. Good stop by Warden as he covers it up quickly.
Face off to the left of Warden. Minnesota has won every draw on this power play. .535 left to go in the game. Tech leading by the commanding 6-1 margin. Lambert on the draw with Steele. This time Steele gets the draw. Tech has it. They can't clear it out. It comes to Reed Larson. Moves out in front. Larson with the puck, lines it up, dumps it over on the side to Auger. Auger has it knocked off his stick. He dumps it back into the corner. Lambert hustles back after it. Sends it all the way around the boards. Gophers over to cut it off. Comes out to Reed Larson. Larson to Auger. He fired, didn't get much on it. Picked up by Schneider. Schneider tried to center it, knocked down. While Lorimer gets it out to Auger. Auger back to Schneider. Now out to Reed Larson. Cranks up. He shoots. He's wide to the right with his shot. Picked up by Schneider right out in front. And it's kicked off to the side. Picked up by Schneider again. Schneider out the blue line to Reed Larson. Larson starts to move in. Dumps it over for Auger. He shoots and Warden steers that one aside. Minnesota has just kept the puck in the Michigan Tech end. 20 seconds left to go into penalties. Another shot. Now Auger over to pick it up again. Michigan Tech defense tough out in front. A lot of screening done for Jim Warden. Now here's a shot by Larson. Goes wide to the right. Comes off to Schneider with 7 seconds left. He fires it way wide to the left, and it's picked up by Michigan Tech. They clear it down the ice, and that should just about kill off the penalty time. Both teams are right back at full strength. With 4:24 left to go in the hockey game, now all Tech has to do is sit on that 5-goal lead as Reed Larson starts back. Fires the shot wide to the left. Warden out. Couldn't quite get to it, and it's cleared out to the blue line and out to center ice. Auger has it there, dumps it back in. It's picked off by Tech, and they start back. Zook goes across the Gopher blue line. It's dumped back out to center ice, picked up out there by Abbey. Abbey retreats towards his own blue line. His pass a little too far, and Auger picks it off for Minnesota. Auger with the puck, has it knocked off his stick. Wilcox trying to move in. He goes down after it. Sends it right through the crease. It comes over to the near side, and it's picked up by Warren Miller of Minnesota. He tried to put it on Polich's stick, but it's intercepted by Ostlund. Here's a shot by Wilcox. He hit the side of the net, and it's picked up by Robin Larson. He banks it off the boards. Miller clears it out to center ice, and Tech will go back and regroup again. Paul Jensen with it. 3:30 left to go in a hockey game. Tech's almost home. Puck in the Gopher end. Kicked out to Miller. Miller dumps it back of the net. Comes over to Les Auger. Michigan Tech checking very well in the Minnesota end right now. They've got them really bottled up. Puck comes out to Dahlheim at center ice. Carries across the blue line. Gets it around one man. Polich carries on. Picks it up back of the net. Still has the puck. Still has it. Cruises out in front. Tried to get it over to the man breaking for the net. Micheletti could not. Micheletti got it and fired the shot wide to the left. It's steered around the boards by Murray and cleared out to center ice by Michigan Tech as we're under 3 minutes to go in the hockey game. Puck picked up by Fredrickson. Couldn't control it and cleared away from him and picked up by Ostlund. Now Michigan Tech starts back. Ostlund with a pass off the boards, a little bit too far for Roberts. And Thayer steers that around to the side. Dahlheim faked firing it behind the net. Now it's picked up by Bouchard. Centering pass out in front, cleared away by the Gophers. As they pick it up, Robin Larson gets it up to Morant. Morant for Fredrickson. Cleared back out to center ice by Murray and driven right back in again by Minnesota. Wilcox with it. He steers it out to center ice. It's picked up there by the Gophers with 2 minutes, 20 seconds left to go in the hockey game. And Michigan Tech will be your new NCAA champions as the puck's dumped into the Tech zone. Time has run out on Minnesota. Puck picked up by Murray. His pass knocked down by Morant and held into the Tech zone. Bouchard takes it into the boards. He wants a face-off and will have it in the Michigan Tech end with 2:02 left to go. And the chant goes up, "We're number one," from the Michigan Tech fans across the way, and they've got a right to do it.
Yeah, we've seen nothing tonight to dispute that claim, that's for sure. John McGinnis said coming into the game that he thought his team was really on an upswing, playing very well, scoring well, and doing everything well, and they really have done everything well here tonight.
Face off to the right of Jim Warden in the Tech zone. The shot fired up there for Minnesota by Russ Anderson. Lyle. Puck picked off by Phippen. Now Morrow drives it, picked off by Lyle. Lyle to the Minnesota blue line. Around one man, takes a check from Anderson and goes down. Morrow after the puck. Clears it along the near boards. He's creamed into the boards back there by Jensen. Jensen in turn knocked down. Lyle with the puck. Phippen knocks it off his stick. And it's picked up by Vanelli. Vanelli to the blue line. Has it knocked off his stick, goes in after it. They trap it up along the boards. Phippen has it. Tries to get it out front to Youngins, and that's broken up by Tech. And they come away with it. Young dumps it into the Gopher zone. Thayer has to make the save. Anderson with it. We're down to 1 minute and 19 seconds left to go in the hockey game. Well, the University of Minnesota has valiantly tried to defend their NCAA crown. They had to come from behind to beat Harvard to reach the finals, but Michigan Tech just too much for them tonight. And for this evening, at least, Michigan Tech the better of the two teams, just as a year ago, Minnesota was the better of the two in the championship game. Less than a minute to go in a hockey game. Vanelli picks up the puck. It's driven in by Phippen. Youngins after it. Lorimer got there first. Youngins and Lorimer trap it up along the boards, and that'll bring another face-off in the Michigan Tech end with 44 seconds left to go. You're going to hear an eruption when this game ends. You may hear it before the game ends from the Michigan Tech fans, and they'll pour out to greet Jim Warden. Don't go away. We'll break and then be right back for any presentations they may have here at the St. Louis Arena, as the NCAA championships of 1975 are drawing rapidly to a close, and Michigan Tech will wear the crown for the 75-76 season until we do it all over again next year. Wouldn't be a bit surprised to see both teams right back in it, Roger.
I think it's certainly a definite possibility.
Well, for young Herb Brooks, it's got to be a disappointment. The young head coach of the University of Minnesota. In his 3 years, he's brought his team to 2 NCAA championship games, come home with 1, and certainly that's not a bad record. Puck held in by Joe Micheletti. They dump it back at the net. We're down to 39 seconds to go. The puck comes loose on the near boards, picked up by Holmgren. He had his pass deflected, picked off by Younger. Out to center ice, Delvis with it out there. Avoids a check. Still has the puck, avoids another check, and now gets it over on the side to Younger. Younger checked out of the play by Auger. Puck picked up by Minnesota. They try to get it up to Holmgren. He dumps it in, and Warden steers that one aside. 15 seconds left to go in the game. The puck comes out to center ice. Now fed back to Les Auger. The Gophers dump it back in again. The fans starting to erupt now. 7 seconds. Down to 4, 3, 2, 1. It's all over. And the Huskies go out, and they will thoroughly maul Jim Warden. Sticks go in the air. Michigan Tech is the NCAA champion. There they are. Well, we'll be back in a moment. The final score, Michigan Tech 6, the University of Minnesota 1.
You've been watching NCAA hockey, live from St. Louis, Missouri. The championship game between the Michigan Tech Huskies and the Minnesota Golden Gophers. This has been a TV6 Sports special presentation.